you can just watch them play, and you can learn very similar things.
And Boar's stream has been full of all of these players for 2 weeks solidly, which is obviously a disadvantage.
That's why you came top 8 instead, isn't it? They all knew exactly what you're going to be bringing.
Yeah, so here we have the optimal time rule for Dirty Rat. The turn before Raza chain can come down. He hasn't got a read on Raza. There's no kept cards that is clearly a Raza. He might try and hold the Dirty Rat for a Venom, which is much easier to hit. But I would like to see the Dirty Rat just come down here and hope for the Raza. It's one of the best ways you can win the game.
Yeah, because after this single one turn, that's it. It's your one chance to get it, and Toast will definitely just dodge that situation.
And this is the thing, I used to hate Dirty Rat as a card until these situations arose, where you can actually change a matchup in your favour, and it's not just playing on turn 2 as a defensive option and hoping you don't draw something significant from your opponent's hand.
Yeah, so I imagine Ben was scared of maybe putting a Velen because he doesn't have an answer for it. However, the pros and cons, most of the minions are small in the priest deck, you're not too worried about putting them. And the pro of putting Raza is just so large that I definitely encourage you to play Rat on turn 4 if you can.
Yeah, because it's such a really bad matchup for you as well. So if you pull the Venom and lose, well, you're probably going to lose anyway. So not no harm done, but not too many percentage points thrown away. And if he hits this, it just makes things so messy. I mean, the Priest can still actually win. We've seen this with multiple things with Priest. He can get cards back, he can win without certain cards.
Yeah.
But definitely worth hitting it.
Yeah, instead we see Ben going for that. Just on another note, it looks like he is playing the full control version. There's no cubes in here. Yeah. He's playing the Geist. That very much indicates, and the Stonehills, that it is control, not cube. Because cube can actually beat Priest with Doom Guards. That's one way, but yeah, definitely here it looks like only Void Lords as demons in this deck.
Is that the version you'd expect people to bring? I mean, if you don't want to say, what did you bring? If you don't want to say, I understand. But
yeah, I brought the control version the same as Ben. Right. Obviously not card for card the same, but yeah, very similar.
And do you think that's what most people would bring who are playing the non-zoo bluff strategy?
Yeah, definitely. If you're expecting aggro, which everyone clearly was with their Galactic Caller lineups, you're going to bring the control version because it's better versus aggro.
Right. I mean, is the obviously the answer to this question is always yes, but in scale, how much more complicated is it than just getting down an early Void Lord against aggro decks? And this matchup, we've got plenty of time to talk about how this one's going to unfold.
Yeah, there's always complicated Defile turns and Hellfire turns, and then you want to play cards like Dirty Rat. There's always an optimal time to play that, and it's sometimes very difficult to work it out in every matchup.
So Ben gave a bit of a nod after his Dirty Rat non-play earlier. I think he realised that was an option that he overlooked. And
yeah, it's interesting to see what his game plan is. I imagine he's definitely going down the line of, I want a Dirty Rat Velen, and then kill that with a Twisting Nether on turn 10, potentially, or the Siphon Soul on 8. And we'll see how this goes for him. He hasn't really got the pressure in the early game. Sometimes you can get a Void Lord out on 5 with Lackey. He's holding back the Lackey here because he's scared of Silence, scared of Potion of Madness. So he doesn't want to play it naked on board without actually getting a Void Lord out, which makes a lot of sense.
Something I always have trouble with in this matchup myself is, I mean, the great thing with Hearthstone these days is there's no sort of, hey, this is the answer to this question, but is the timing of Psychic Scream. You can choose to do it before they start getting all their stuff, or you can wait until after you're done and put it all back in. And what timing are you usually aiming for? Maybe in the board state we have right now, what would you be aiming to use the Psychic Scream on?
Yeah, normally you just want to use them on the Voiders. It's all very situational. It depends. Or it's all context, essentially. Sometimes it's best to wait for the Gul'dan if you have the read that Coin Gul'dan's coming down, and then other times you can just use it. If there's just a good board for it, you shouldn't really be turning it down. As well as in your hand, if you don't have anything better to do, sometimes it's just correct to play it.
So being tricky with it is probably counterproductive. Just get on with it and do your priest things that you're trying to do.
Yeah, so Toast is trying to draw his whole deck as fast as possible here. Has no card draw cards in hand, doesn't want to waste his resources, so just does nothing this turn.
Yeah, what Toast is worried about, of course, is the pressure from Ben, because now he's seeing Geist. He's like, okay, that's one of my win conditions that is slightly decreasing. If he was to lose a Velen to a Dirty Rat or something like that, he needs to find a way to still be able to find all that damage. And if he's as unlucky as Hello Leroy was, and his Anduin is right at the bottom of his deck, then he might struggle from the pressure that Ben can provide with some of these kind of annoying minions like Void Lord.
Yeah, one other thing to point out is that Toast has brought a very anti-aggro lineup. We see Doomsayer, we see Greater Healing Potion in this Priest deck. He has to have cut some cards. Has he cut Card Draw? Has he cut Mind Blast for Burst, maybe? Yeah, something has to have gone, and maybe he doesn't have the same burst damage and the same draw, so this matchup is a bit worse for him than it normally is for a Razakus Priest on the ladder.
Yeah, Binding Heal is always a card I quote in this situation, but maybe if you're playing that defensively, Binding Heal adds to all that rather than directly swaps. Doomsayer, Binding Heal doing very much the same thing, except that Doomsayer doesn't cycle with your Gadgets and your Live or whatever he plays. So, keep his health out. So just go for that 5-mana spell. So
yeah, drawing 2 cards off that, which is exactly what he was looking for. Perfect scenario here. Will actually start cycling through his deck, get closer to that Anduin.
This can sometimes be a bit weird. It's not going to be here, but where you're trying to actually dump stuff out, especially when you do start playing those Doomsayers, the cards you want to keep in your hand and mess around with. You can get in this situation where you don't want to play any of the cards out of your hand apart from the ones that replace themselves, and you can end up in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we see Ben here finally gets to play his Lackey and kill it on the same turn with this Hellfire, getting out his Void Lord, I imagine. Yeah.
That's a mistake you see so often at lower ranks of ladder, where people just play out their Lackey and let it get silenced or stolen or something. So Ben setting that up nicely there, getting everything going properly.
The thing is now, Toast is probably going to want to keep this Void Lord in his hand, because he will be worried about Dirty Rats happening, and the only other minions, he's got Pyromancer and Velen. You want the highest possibility chance of them not being pulled.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting as well, because Toast might think that there is no Dirty Rats in his left card of Ben's hand, because he thought it might have been played on turn 5 or turn 4 for his Raza. So maybe he just has a read that there aren't Dirty Rats. Some of these control builds are playing cards like Tainted Zealot, and they're not playing Dirty Rats. So we'll see what he does. And he does just play it. It is just a good body on board on turn 9, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the Warlock plays it for a reason against things. In this game, actually, the Warlock is the aggro deck, sadly. So, yeah, just slow it down as much as you can. Because the Warlock Mirror will go to Fatigue. If you go to Fatigue in the Priest versus Warlock, obviously your Priest in a great spot. Although running out of 1-drops. So he's going to have to hold on to one of these 0-drops at some point, not both.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and from Ben's side, just tapping every turn. He needs to get the score down, as I said before. There's an N'Zoth as well. The N'Zoth can provide a lot of power to the board, and without Psychic Scream, can sometimes just put enough pressure on the Priest to kill them as well. We see the Spellstone coming down here, 7 damage. Straight through the Void Lord already, start applying even more pressure. Maybe force an AoE to Toast Monster here.
Yeah, he has double Dirty Rat in hand as well. Like, he must be feeling fairly confident at some point he can pull out this Velen in the latter stages of the game when the deck starts to thin out ever so slightly. I mean, Toast should feel comfortable in this matchup, relatively comfortable, just saying, right, if I draw through my deck, I'm probably going to win. But what are the standout signs of how he loses the game? Is there anything he could do particularly wrong?
Yeah, well, the ways he loses are too much pressure from the Warlock, and he's fine. There's no pressure at all, basically. And the other way is he gets his Raza, Dirty Rad, or his Velen Dirty Rad. So I imagine he's just going to make sure he keeps some cards back with this Velen in hand as well. It's the only minion in hand at the moment, but he's going to be drawing loads of cards, so I imagine minions will be coming into the hand.
Pretty sure that production have just put all the Anduins to the bottom today to make it more exciting.
Well, we had all the patches at the top yesterday, so it's only fair, isn't it?
They probably did that as well.
Yep.
Ooh, and there's the Gul'dan pickup for Ben, so next turn that can come down. If we can get this Void Lord to die, that'll be resummoned as well. And then the hero power, make sure that you're on 30 HP most of the time, and then you're just gradually grinding down that Priest. If the DK is low enough in Toast Monster's deck, you can just pressure with the 3 damage per turn from the hero power.
And 30 is the key number, right? Because 28 is easy.
Well,
not 28's gone again.
Well, and Geist as well.
Oh, of course. So it's actually down to 24 because of the circle. Yeah, so just staying on any sort of high number now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, more draw here for Toast Monster. He also has this potion, of course, which is draw. Just trying to maximise his draws. Doesn't want to end up overdrawing here. That would be disastrous as well.
Yeah, remember there was the option here, given how late this has been played, to be a 1-mana potion for later. The guys had already gone.
Yeah.
And so, just highlighting that is a decision that he made. Not saying it's right or it's wrong, just he wanted those cards rapidly. You were saying at the time that's what you would have done as well, obviously. But it was a 1-drop he was denying himself for later.
Yeah, it definitely worked out well for him here. This resummon is just crazy. You're talking about pressure from the Warlock side. There's now pressure just with minions from the Priest side. So if you have the late game win condition and the pressure early, things are going very well for you.
Yeah, and that pressure is one way to play around this Dirty Rat issue. If you can just hit 10 off their 30 and then just ping away at the rest, you can soon eat through that healing and make a big, big difference.
Ben does seem reluctant to play these Dirty Rats. Is there an optimal time during the late game, Boar, that you would want to play them? Is Ben tracking how many minions have been played by Toast and saying, alright, I'm ticking this one off the list, this one, there's only now 4 left in the deck kind of situation?
Yeah, this is we're just seeing here, I think Ben's going for the overdraw on the Acolyte of Pain, which is another way to win, overdrawing the Anduin. We'll just see if this happens quickly.
We have seen Anduin be burnt once already today. A second time would be crazy.
So that's the comeback mechanic gone. If he does hit the Anduin, that's the game.
Yeah.
Because the Lyra is your one way of sort of trying to miracle your way back into it, which is what Ben was trying to do yesterday when he lost his Anduin.
Yeah, so back to the point about the Velen. I imagine Ben is tracking all the cards. He knows all the minions in Toast deck. And then cards like Velen are going to be in your hand for such a long time. He can start making reads on which cards are what. And you can go like Mind Blast, cards like maybe Greater Healing Potion, Psychic Scream. They're going to be stuck in hand for the longest, along with the Velen. And once he's very confident that one of the cards is Velen, I imagine that's when the rats come down.
This is kind of the point I was mentioning earlier, by the way, where every card in your hand, you've got 10 cards in hand, and every card you either don't want to play or replenishes itself. We might see some sort of weird doomsayer here just to empty the hand. He doesn't really want to do this. It doesn't help him, except it makes him space to draw a card.
The thing is, this opens up a Dirty Rat option now. Because the Doomsayer is on the board, that is a natural invite to say, right, yeah, I'm going to play a Dirty Rat because it can kill whatever comes onto the board now.
It's almost like Ben might think, because he Doomsayed, he doesn't have anything good in his hand for me to Dirty Rat, so I won't Dirty Rat.
Wow.
It's almost a mind game here from Toast to some extent, in terms of respecting your opponent to some extent, but we'll see what
two of them.
does. He does. He's also not sure. There's a lot of cards left. Velen can still be in the deck.
Yeah, I think with 2 of them, I think I'd be really tempted to throw one of them out there and just take a shot at it because you're over halfway through the deck.
Yeah, of course with Cast Division we can see it in hand, but Ben isn't... Oh!
The Gluttonous was drawn after the Defiled.
Oh, he was trying to get it into the hand.
But now he gets it.
He does get it.
Okay. So a really, really important Dirty Rat there from Ben. If he had just stopped there and played just the one, then we would have been like, you could have played the 2, but...
And as Boar was saying, that was with Cast Division, we could see it quite clearly. Ben had to sit there and think, is it my time?
Yeah, so 2 very key turns here. The Velen is gone, but without Gul'dan online yet, Toast can see I can actually just pressure. Enough pings per turn. You can do like 5 pings per turn, and then just whittle down the Warlock, and that can be enough if he can just have enough time to do it as well.
But we can also see the cooldown's going to slow that process down. 5 armor to start with and 3 per turn really makes it a slow grind to get there. But we do see that Ben's hand has nothing in it, apart from Gul'dan, obviously.
Yeah, the 2 Twisting Nethers are essentially useless this matchup. Hellfire can be useful for some final damage, and Spellbreaker, you can only use that to silence the death rattles on the card draw cards, but I think we've seen all the card draw pretty much that's come out, so Spellbreaker, pretty useless.
Looks like a Psychic Scream.
Yeah.
And we're just going to see for the second time in 2 matches, I think, the chance that the Anduin just runs out of fuel.
Yeah, essentially. Toast has a lot of damage left. If he is playing the Mind Blast, which I assume he is, he's still got that to come. He has a lot of burst damage, and yeah, as I said, whittling per turn is the important thing here, and just denying pressure as well from the Warlock with the Psychic Scream.
It's all going to have to be done from hand, though. He only has 1 card left in his deck, and he's going to have no minion pressure at all, as you can see. But, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's got quite enough to get there. With a 3 gain per turn, that negates the first ping of every single turn, plus some on top, of course.
Yeah, he knows his Cleric isn't going to be drawing any cards, so just instantly plays that. Maybe it can push 1 damage.
Just N'Zoth into draw something else.
The trouble with N'Zoth is that means you're not using your hero power as the Warlock, and I feel like,
I think what Ben was doing that
hero
turn,
power.
Toast was just counting how much he could do and just saving the time when he realised it wasn't enough.
So maybe Toast did cut Mind Blast, I'm not sure. It's just, I'm just sort of speculating here. But
Right, that's interesting. You said earlier he had to cut 2 things.
he had to cut something, yeah.
People do fight the Mind Blast occasionally, right?
Yeah, especially if you're planning on countering aggro. It's very bad versus aggro, probably the lowest win rate card in your deck against any aggro deck.
So a big win there for Ben, getting that Warlock out of the way, or so it seems, but the Priest will probably find a win anyway. The Warlock would probably have found a win anyway, so in Conquest that's not quite... Even though it's a massive percentage change, it doesn't actually affect the overall outcome that much, oddly enough.
Both lineups are not targeting Warlock and Priest. If they had a 2-ban, those would be the 2 decks you banned. It's the other decks, the Rogues, which both players are looking at beating here.
It's just the fact that Toast has been leaving that Warlock up. You'd think that maybe he's got some form of answer that he thought he could be able to deal with it, and I guess maybe that was the Priest. Yeah, so he's going to be pretty aggrieved, but as you said, in the grand scheme of things, it might not matter too much as Ben now moves over to his aggro druid, whereas Toast is going to continue on this Priest and hope to find a victory. And to be honest, against an aggro druid, sometimes you can just get battered down in the early game. You need that removal. Yeah,
you're looking for that Pyromancer in particular in your opening hand, but Doomsayer is going to slow things down a bit as well, and Raza is a good way of just healing a lot through the course of the game, so I imagine he'll keep those 2.
Yeah, so there are early game board clears with Circle of Healing plus the Arcanized Soul Priest and then Wild Pyromancer, and he has everything that he needs here.
Would he have kept the Dragonfire had he not had the Doomsayer there? Was that like a keep because he knows he's getting into turn 4 quite easily?
Definitely. He wants an answer for Living Mana in his hand, and the Dragonfire Potion is that answer.
Right.
And a Potion of Madness as well to boot. All of the tools for Toast to deal with aggro, similar to we saw Mysterious, I think, earlier, who had the same kind of possibilities with all of the anti-aggro tools, and it can be very painful when you are on the aggressive side, when you're just facing clear after clear after clear.
Yeah, I saw that game. I watched Mysterious get that opening hand at 2-2 and walked away for 5 minutes thinking it'd be over, and came back and it's like, it was still going on. It's like because he was just making sure he didn't make any mistakes and clearing up things as he went, I feel.
Yeah, so Toast could coin out the Doomsayer here, deny any place in Big Ben, but he wants to save this coin for the Pyromancer, and then maybe play the Doomsayer later into his Raza turn. So he's hoping that Big Ben spreads wide, and then he can do that, or he just plays Doomsayer here if Ben doesn't put enough pressure on the board.
So Ben can kill this Doomsayer if he wants to use the Savage Draw. Is it worth it to preserve a 4/4? Do you have to defend this board like this?
Well, he doesn't have to use a Savage Draw. He could also use Mark of Charge and Mark of the Lotus. That gives him a 6/6, weak to Silence, weak to Death, but it's just a much bigger body, and he saves a Savage Draw for when he spreads wide.
Okay, and that's where he's going to go with it. So it's a big investment, but it's going to be a big reward as well, because now there is no answer for Toastmaster, who has the perfect answer to everything, but he's encouraged Ben to do something Ben wouldn't have done.
Yeah, basically.
Ironically.
Toast, going into it, was thinking Ben needed second Mark of your Charge and Mark of the Lotus or Patches there.
Yeah, like Captain into Patches or something, whatever.
To punish him, and that's what he had. So Toast was just going, I don't think you have it, and Ben had it, and that's sometimes how it goes. Toast very much punished here for not coining a Doomsayer.
Did we see a silence last game from Toastmaster?
Yes.
We did see one?
Yeah.
So Ben knows that is a possibility, but with it not being there for Toast, this is just so painful to have to just leave this 7/7 up.
Yeah, so Ben knows that Toast kept 2 cards here, hasn't played them yet, might try and do something around that, but he knows that one big HP guy can't be answered. Why not make another big HP guy?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and also you can drop the 1/2 because you can't really area 1/2 when you're trying to deal with a 7/7. It's kind of pointless.
Yeah, so Toast has to work out how he can set this up. He can do a Pyromancer turn here to set up for a Dragonfire Potion next turn, potentially.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to do it. I mean, there is a straight up just Holy Smite the Raven. I hope he doesn't get buffed. That's terrifying. I think you're right. You have to set up the Pyromancer because it can get buffed again.
Yeah, he is worried that if he uses Pyromancer now and Dragonfire next turn, that's all the AoE's gone, and then Living Mana suddenly becomes a huge problem. He's seen these plays haven't really been weak from Big Ben. They've all made sense. There's no read Toast can really have on Ben's hand to say if there is or isn't a Living Mana at this stage.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get to the point where you just have to hope it's not there. If everything's going wrong for you, you just have to live and see what happens next, from like living from turn to turn almost.
Yeah, and we see the Potion of Mana here very strong, killing off the whole Crypt Lord here and setting up for the Dragonfire.
And that's a weird-looking play to Ben. If he's on the ball, which he has been so far, he should pick up on that, right? That next turn, okay, he's got the AoE. Or I guess the only other thing is maybe if it's so drastic, he might think, oh, Toast is playing for his 1 out.
Yes, but yeah, as I said before, Raza and Dragonfire kept in the opening hand. So from Ben's point of view, these have to be, one of them has to be a Dragonfire, I would think. So therefore, no Living Mana here. He's just going to make some more minions on board.
Just do enough to force Toast to actually have to bother in case he's got a death.
Yeah.
And that seems a motley bunch of things that need clearing up.
Yeah, Ben's aware that Death or Silence will be very strong, but he knows they haven't been played yet. They're going to have to be top deck or from Visions.
And so, as you know, this is where the living mana read's important, right? Because if you know he's got the living mana, you have to actually Visions and take your chance.
Yeah, so we saw a play here from Ben where he ends up floating mana. Now, from Toast wants to side, that's a key indication of cards like Savage Roar, Living Mana, Cold or Creeper. And but he just thinks there's too much pressure on board, can't do anything. He has Shadow Visions to get a Psychic Screen, but just sort of has to do the Dragonfire now or he's going to die.
Yeah, he'll feel that he can Visions into death to deal with the Creeper at least.
Yeah.
So he'll be hoping that it's Creeper oriented rather than living mana orientated. So
yeah, definitely.
It's just so ugly. I mean, you could Visions look for what, like Spirit Lash, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, it's a really awkward situation here. We see 12 power on board. We've already seen the Mark of the Lotus, so Toast won't be scared of any damage coming out. So he can potentially just stall for a turn here with the Visions, heal up, go for Psychic Scream next turn, and then maybe hope to draw the DK or the Psychic Scream for real in this deck and stabilize that way.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't great options at all here. He really wants to get that Lyra going, but no chance in the foreseeable future.
Okay, so I was saying Spirit Lash, or you're saying Psychic Scream. Now you can see both of them. What do you think is the best decision?
I'm liking the Psychic Scream. The Spirit Lash is nice, it heals you up for a bit, but having used Wild Pyromancer already, the only card you can draw is the real Spirit Lash to finish off all of these, and therefore, that being a lot less, it's just very unlikely to draw it, so I like the Psychic Scream here. You're not dead on board, and maybe you can stabilize with some form of heal. He has greater healing potion, remember, so if the board's clear, he can heal back up with some of his cards.
Yeah, this is the turn where he knows that nothing's going to happen. You said there's only one mark in this deck usually.
Oh no! We've already seen one mark of the Lotus. There's normally two, of course.
Right. So,
but Toast isn't going to play around a second. He can't.
Yeah. I was just clearing that one up. Yeah. So it could be there, but it's very unlikely.
So he can set his opponent down to 3. Toast goes down to 3, can obviously heal himself back up. But it looks like Ben's actually thinking about taking this Radiant Elemental off the board. And I guess it does make sense if you are worried about something like a Lyra, but...
Yeah, he's trading here so he can play Cold or Creeper, I believe. Potentially. That's one thing that maybe to trade, but then you are weak to Psychic Scream with that play.
He doesn't have to play it this turn though, it's just making his next turn potentially for you as well.
He's also setting up a Savage Roar by trading as well. So he's saying to Toast, if you didn't hit that Psychic Scream, I'm going to Savage Roar you and kill you if, say, Toast hit Greater Healing Potion there to try and heal up and stabilize that way.
The thing is, if he had set his opponent down to 3, his opponent's then forced to Psychic Scream, then he has...
Well, he has no mana.
He
would have had no mana, so he'd have to kill something to get some mana.
He wants the mana back, so therefore he's playing around Psychic Scream to some extent by trading as well. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Otherwise he just loses the game because he can't play anything at all. This way he can play the things and have the mana. And that's worked out really nicely for him. That silence is just taunting Toast at this point. He's needed that a long time ago.
Yeah, so Ben's seen cards like Vaza from the start. Still might be confused about that card. What could it be? Then there's Lyra, probably been in the hand for a long time. He could be scared of Anduin here and might try and play around it by not playing both the Corridor Creepers. We'll see what he does, though.
And this is where how much practice you put in really matters, because it's not Anduin. It's never Anduin, but I can see why you'd be terrified of it. Against somebody of Toast Monster's skill that isn't an Anduin, you'd mulligan that away to go for the faster start.
Yeah.
But it's all about how much time Ben's put in. It's not going to matter too much anyway, but he is playing around it. And it could be one of those other cards in hand as well, of course.
Yeah, he's also just making a wider board here for Savage Roar. General just makes sense. But Toast, another anti-aggro tool he put in his deck, the Tar Creeper, can just come in here very strong. That's the difference between life and death, potentially.
So he's got to fend off this Savage Roar. Well, first of all, he's got to fend off what he can see. That's the problem. And then he's got to fend off the Savage Roar.
He might be tempted just to Tar Creeper, Raza, heal up, which does keep him alive on board, but if he's worried about Savage Roar, then he knows he just dies.
So with that play, I feel that he's got to work out, does Greater Healing Potion save me? If I clear up what I can see, it's just stemming the tide for one turn. Then he's got to work out, he's clearing this up and then drawing Healing Potion enough.
Yeah, so Toast will be fairly sure this card is like Savage Roar or Second Living Mana stuck in Ben's hand for a long time. I don't think there's a way around the Savage Roar killing him at all, so he might have to just hope that there's no Savage Roar and go for a different line here.
Could you Tark Reaper, Holy Smite, and heal up?
Yeah, so he's doing what Boar said. He's just going to say, if you haven't got it, this is a board that is going to fight back.
Yeah, if you Tark Reaper, Holy Smite and heal up, you go to 9, and then you do survive then, yeah. But he's thinking, if I survive for one turn, what am I even doing on the next turn?
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't find the way to survive, and the Savage Roar is going to push the final damage. Ben takes a 2-0 lead and is 1 game away then from the grand finals of the ESL Premiership. So, a 2-0 position is a very advantageous position to be in, and he looks pretty calm and collected in comparison to last season.
It's just a different guy. 6 months of hard work, hard practice, and comfortable in his own abilities now makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, but he has Rogue left, and I think Toast Monster has 5 Galakas waiting for him.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Galakas already, and like you say, there's even more lurking.
Is that something that Ben can play around though? If he has that knowledge, he can just say, alright, is there a way I can just play these games, at least maybe the first game, without even putting a Pyro on the board? You've got that freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Often, if I know my opponent's playing Galactic Caller, I want to play deckhand, and therefore I can trail off the deckhand, trail off the patches. There's nothing for you to eat, and just avoid playing Swashbuckler and Captain is what you try and do. Of course, sometimes you can't do that. And of course, Toast Monster, there's only 2 in his deck. Ben can sometimes just say, you have to have it. If you don't have it, I'm in a strong position. And of course, Rogue has strong plays like Prince, which is just going to win anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is in such a good position at the moment that just one of the 3 games he has to win. Of course, Toast Monster already being lower bracket as well, it doesn't matter the order that he plays these decks in, he just has to win all 3. There's no reason to not reveal any cards or anything like that, so just playing something you're comfortable with, maybe getting a little bit of momentum behind you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is such a huge match, because whoever goes to the final obviously gets that double life
double
in the final.
advantage, yeah.
I mean, you actually overcame that in Season 1. How stressful is that? It looked pretty stressful.
Yeah, it's always a difficult position to go into. It's almost, often you can say it's nice being the underdog. No one expects you to win twice, so it's nice that way, but obviously you'd rather be the guy who has a life available to lose than the guy who has to win twice in the finals.
Yeah, talking to people who've improved on stage since their beginnings, you're another one of those guys who looked a little bit terrified first time on that big stage and now just doesn't look like they care.
Yeah, so here we have Toast Monster. He obviously cut the Prince, plays Galaka and Eviscerate, and Ben plays around that Galaka with the Firefly.
I love that from Boar.
Yeah,
we're not going to talk about how I was nervous on stage. Instead, I'm just going to talk about Hearthstone.
Just move past that.
But thank you for backing me up, Dan.
It has been nice seeing a lot of these players in the UK community kind of grow with the ESL Premiership and just seeing that obviously there are other UK tournaments that have also allowed that to happen as well.
But this is one where you get on stage so many times. This is why I think this is the premier event in the UK, because you get so many chances to go on that stage. All the guys here today have had 2 chances to go on stage, which will stand in good stead in the future across all tournaments.
Yeah, definitely. And we see an interesting turn here for Toast Monster. If he plays Captain, then he gets the patches buff, but the Captain could dice just backstab. You lose the buff on the patches then. But he's almost trying to bait Ben into playing his Captain to punish Toast Monster's Captain.
Yeah, that Galactic Caller needs food. But also, I mean, this does just build up your board at the same time. It's doing the dual purpose of being a bait, but actually a good one.
And there's that backstab as well that you were just talking about.
Yeah, a huge pickup here for Ben, because this backstab activates a potential for a very large Edwin. And before Vastbind turn as well, that can stick around and just push a lot of damage.
It does leave a Swashbuckler on the board though. It does leave something for the Galactic Crawler to nibble up, but I guess at least it's not a Captain.
Yeah, he's like, you make a 3-4 Galactica, I've got myself, is it an 8-8 Edwin?
At least. Yeah, good counting. And no backstab either for Toast, so the Valspine is going to be 2 turns away, most likely, which is 16 points of ouch.
It's going to be more turns away if he's using his Swashbuckler and doesn't find anything that's actually going to be able to activate it, because now, no activator even on turn 6.
Yeah, I imagine he's hopeful in his deck. He's got lots of draws which can activate the Valspine, playing with his deck a bit here rather than his hand and thinking, I will draw something. He also might be greedy here with the Galactica, just play an SI here, try and get something bigger for the Galactica to eat, but I'm not sure if Ben will fall into a trap of playing. But we see, oh, he's hoping that the Swashbuckler lives. And without playing Galaka, Ben might think there's no Galaka and then play a captain. So he's trying to get an even larger meal for this Galaka crawler.
Larger meal, and also this is going to do some damage to the Edwin at least. It's not challenging it as such, but at least it's awkward looking. Although so much going on in Ben's hand to just not worry about it.
Yeah, that chain gang pickup means he can just chuck those taunts on the board and then send 8 damage to face if he would like.
Yeah, I imagine Ben, even though we know that there's no Vastman activator, it's going to be very scared of it happening and therefore will trade. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
One thing Ben has done actually really well in this match and in this tournament is not fall into like cheap traps. He's really managed to get things going like that in this. Obviously he made the mistake with the Northshire, that one thing, but he admitted after that was just a little bit of lack of practice. All the rest of the time he's just dodged all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and there we see what he dodged, the backstab pickup. And now this Vastbind Slayer a lot weaker than it could have been. But the Zero Mana Cold Retriever, of course, very powerful, does contest this 3-4.
Right, and now it's thinking time for Ben. We've sort of done all the, not easy stuff, but all the fairly straightforward stuff. Now he's got to work out what his plan for the future is, because this hand can develop several ways. And Keleseth, despite it being turn 5, is still kind of relevant here. This could go on a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, Keleseth's definitely going to come down. Right? 100% Keleseth. Wait, you're right? You're looking at me like, oh,
somebody came from my right-hand side. How's it going?
The big question for me is, are you going to Shadow Step it? And I think the longer this game goes on, the more important that +2/+2 is going to be on all of your minions.
Yeah, he doesn't have a good Shadow Step target in his hand. There's no Leroy for burst, there's no Bone Mare, there's no Elven Minstrel, so it makes a lot of sense to use it here. And this game, they're both on 27 on turn 5. It might last a while, and all the buffs just help each bit.
Yeah, the accumulative sort of effect of those buffs over 5 or 6 turns obviously would be +10/+10, +12/+12. We'll have some of that going on. But it's usually on turn 5, what I was saying a minute ago is like, it might only go 2 more turns, +2/+2, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, another deadly fort picked up from the Swashbuckler. Yeah, SI just cleaning up the biggest threat. Now they're fairly even on board. Toast Monster is hoping for a huge swing turn with Galactic Quarter Vastbind coming up, and we'll see if Ben plays around that.
Yeah, of course, Toast Monster now, the pressure is on him to do something because he can't outvalue Ben after that double Keleseth.
Yeah, we'll just see what comes out of this swash. Ooh. So, of course, Cheat Death, that'll send potentially the Prince back to his hand, or the SI, or the Swash, which are all cards which are good to go back to your hand. So I'd like to see that played up. Also, it's really good with Chain Gang in the future. So he might hold it back, but he just go ahead and plays the Chain Gang in the backstab for the most stuff on board, basically.
Yeah, Rogue just doesn't, or the way that Rogue is currently built, Rogue does not possess a way to clear wide boards. It's more and more of a problem, to the point where I was saying yesterday, I wonder if people will try to find a way of putting something in their decks, like Blade Flurry, for instance, but something better than that will actually start doing some damage to these wide boards, because it's becoming a problem.
Yeah, and Toast Monster now, if he's been hand tracking, knows not to be scared of a Bone Mare here, because Ben's hand is all just cards which have been produced from other sources.
Yeah.
So Toast can make some, he can maybe just use the Vastbind here, when otherwise you might have to hold it back for a Bone Mare. But the Vastbind is also seeming weak. He could play a Sharp Fork, there's a Tar Creeper, lots of lines here for Toast.
Just touching on your point slightly, Lorinda, especially with the rise of Paladin, I was expecting more Fan of Knives to exist.
Yeah.
Maybe in combination with like Thalnos or something, but the Tempo Rogue deck is just so good. It's like, what do you take out?
Yeah, you take it all out and play Miracle, but then
Exactly.
you're lowering your deck strength. So, but at some point the tip will come where there are just too many wide decks. We won't be there yet, but if people keep getting more and more aggressive, someone's going to roll up with Miracle and just destroy everybody.
Yeah, some sort of, it'll be interesting. Maybe at Worlds, but we'll have to see what they've put in a lot of practice. Maybe Fan of Knives is somehow in there against an anti-Paladin lineup.
And it might be the George C strategy of put one in there to make sure they have to play around it even if you don't draw it, because it's open lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we see a deck hand. Might look small. 4-3 though after that Prince Shadow Step earlier. Any minion is a good draw for Ben at this stage.
Yeah, 4-3 versus your opponent's 5 mana 3-4 that obviously kills it, but yeah, the numbers are starting to stack in Ben's favour, and he's 2-0 up already, and the winner goes to the grand final. It's looking really good.
Yeah, so Toast held back his Galactic Vastbind for next turn, hoping that Ben would just play one of these really big guys that he's got in his deck. But Toast just can't find the Vastbind Slayer value that he's looking for. And we see the Cheat Death here set up for the Sound Knight Chain Gang. Toast Monster can play around this though with the Galactica. Although it is a random secret, it could be evasion, it could be sudden betrayal as well.
And he's getting so low on health, at some point you might have to say, I have to vile spine something.
Yeah.
I love the interaction between the players there as well. Just having a little giggle to each other just to say, Toast saying, what on earth is this secret? And Ben pointed to the sky. Just like, oh, maybe God knows.
Maybe Pavel knows. I don't think he does.
That was hilarious.
So this would be the perfect time to bluff Cheat Death if you had it in hand. So Toast Monster, he's always going for the,
Swashbuckler does provide just potentially more damage for Ben as well. And he is so close, especially with that head crack available as well each turn if he wants to. Like, he's putting him on, what, like a 4-turn timer?
Yeah. It can change quickly. I mean, if Toast can draw a wide board.
That is a huge pickup, though, for Ben, that minstrel. Of course, it's buffed itself and falling 2 buffed minions. Oh, Deadly Poison as well.
We're getting really close to 2-turn lethal now. That's a lot of burst. And Ben's just got to organise. He's got to take a minute to make sure he doesn't mess this up, basically. He can kill Toast next turn. He just wants to set up to make sure how he can get that right.
So Deadly Poison into Headcrack now. And then you've got SI7 Agent and Headcrack next turn with the Elemental as well.
Yeah, he's got to think, could Toast Monster have a Shadow Step and the Leroy Jenkins? How much damage is this? That would be 12. That still wouldn't be enough. So I imagine to see Poison plus Headcrack here.
And the only reason he took so long, I think, is because he's wasting one of the poison charges. You want to make sure, is that okay to waste it?
Yeah.
And think and double think and triple think. I'm wasting 2 damage here if it did go longer.
And we need something miraculous, like a Yoxeron, for any chance for Toast to even do anything this game. But it's not there. And that means Big Ben is going to be the player who is going to move forward to the Grand Final with a 3-0 as well. What a way to go into the Grand Final.
Yeah.
That is certainly a way to intimidate your opponent who's going to be facing you later. And you can see it on Ben's face. He knows now. He's set it up for it perfectly. And he's going to be very happy about that performance.
Yeah, and he gets to sit back for 3 or 4 hours and watch everybody scrap it out. And I know he sat next to me, but with Boar missing from that scrap, that is going to be, the one who comes through all that is going to be pretty tired by the end of it, especially if it's Dan who's got to go through right from the bottom all the way up to the top.
Oh yeah, I mean there's so many games to win in that loser bracket, and quite rightly a massive smile on Ben's face. A small celebration, not a Dan SWF celebration, a more subtle one, and a tiny bit of confetti fell out there as well.
Ooh.
Just a tiny bit, maybe that's an inkling, like a premonition of who's going to win the Grand
Yeah, but which
Final.
way is that all the runner-up gets?
Oh, maybe, just a little bit.
Or was it just, they're ready?
Maybe, but a great series from Ben, really well played. His decks seem to be on point, Boar. You were saying before the game, maybe you need to look at tournament decks and how you could build a little bit better. Do you think Ben has the optimal lineup for this tournament in particular?
Yeah, with the meta game, he's brought the decks which counter the aggro lineup, like Rogue and stuff, and it definitely worked out for him here. It's hard to say which one's best on such a small sample size, but it's clearly worked out for Ben, so from what we've seen, it is the best so far.
Yeah, one thing that Ben has, it's almost in his favour when it comes to setting. Because he has limited time, he does get other people to help him a little bit with his deck lineup, so he doesn't have the opportunity to overthink it. He just brings the good stuff and plays it. He doesn't really have a chance to do anything. I mean, Aggro Druid was like a little bit of a gamble coming in, but that was the only thing. So he has to play good, solid decks because he doesn't have enough available time to play all of something crazy.
So Toast will drop to the losers bracket, and he will then play the winner of Dan SWF and Mysterious.
Ben's teammate.
I believe. So that's going to be an interesting one. But do we think that maybe we just saw the Grand Final? Is there a possibility Toast could come back through the losers bracket and gets that Grand Final?
Yeah, definitely. Toast, he's got to this final. He's got a good lineup. We see all those Galactic Orders. They didn't work so well in this series. There was no captains that he ate. He got a Swashbuckler only off the Galactus. So maybe if they work out better in other series, I think he's definitely got a strong possibility of getting in.
All right, well, we're not heading to London. We're actually still in Leicester, but we are going to chat to Big Ben with Frankie on the stage.
I am with Mr. Ding Dong himself. It's Big Ben, and the happiness, but also the shock is radiating from you right now.
Yes, particularly that first matchup. Having the Warlock is incredibly strong against his other 2 decks, but the Priest is really sketchy. But it all went to plan, getting the Dirty Rat to play on the Velens, kind of milling him of his 1-drops. He just does not have enough burst damage to kill me at that point.
And you were saying to me earlier, we were having some lunch in the marquee outside, ESL, no expense spared, that you thought that Toast Monster brought a bit too much tech to his deck.
he tried to target against the anti-aggro, and in this matchup, he should have beaten me on cards alone. Having the greater healing potion in the priest rather than just my binding heal. Having the Galactus and Eviscerates in the rogue mirror should have beaten me, but I played around that by only playing the pirates, where it would have been awkward for him to have played the Galactic Crawler, because then I played it on turn 3 alongside an Edwin Van Cleef. If he Galactus it, he has a 3/5 and 8/8, and that's just going to win. So on cards alone, I think he probably has the edge, but it went my way today.
I mean, you are in the grand final, so you could still face Toast Monster again.
I could do, but then I now have a 2-game advantage. Well, I have the kind of a whole best out of 5 series advantage going against him, and I've beaten him once. I can do it again.
You know what? I don't doubt you, but I do believe in Toast Monster too, so I'm not going to write him off just yet. But this is within reach. How would it feel to be actually permitted to touch it? Because I'm still not.
No one is allowed to touch it at the moment. It's been there for about 2 months. No one's been able to touch it. But no, it'd be absolutely fantastic to be able to say I've actually won a trophy. I've got so close in a number of different tournaments, coming second at DreamHack. I was so close, but maybe this is my time.
I mean, you're already further than last year, so congratulations, mate. And there are 3 players left, of course. Mysterious and Dan SWF, who we're going to see next. And we are also potentially going to see Toast Monster again against you. You know, he's got to get through that final first, that lower bracket final. Who do you want to see most in that final against you?
It'd be strange. In a way, I think if I played against Dan SWF, I have the best lineup against him. But then in that case, I think Mysterious should beat him. It would be quite interesting having a M&M final. I think that'd be quite good to see, and also the team will be very happy if we walk away with first and second. So yeah, we'll go for that.
Well, fingers crossed for your team. I'm going to go let you celebrate, get ready for your grand final, man. After the break, we've got a semi! We are going to see the lower bracket semi-finals between Dan SWF and Mysterious. So do not go anywhere. The battle bell is ringing!
Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Premiership powered by Windows 10 and Alienware. Big Ben moves on to the grand final, but Toast Monster moves to the loser bracket. And we have to find out who's going to be playing against him in the lower bracket. So it's going to be Mysterious now, facing off against Dan SWF. Joining me on the desk this time is Falcone and still the man himself, Ball Control. Did you watch that last game, Dan?
I did watch the last game. It was pretty fast.
Pretty fast. A 3-0 is a perfect way to get into the grand final. But now we need to find out who are these players who are going to be able to get that chance to get back into the grand final. And Dan versus Mysterious. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because Dan is a very emotive, very passionate, a very loud character against the complete opposite of Mysterious, who is very quiet, very reserved, and, well, just an awesome dude, to be honest. I think Mysterious is great.
I was rather hoping that we'd get to cast this one with Hello Leroy. I think that would have been really special. But we'll take Better Derek instead.
Yes,
Ooh.
Better Darrock is on the desk. I think that is a good way to...
Just kidding, I love you, Derek.
So before we jump into this game, we do have other giveaways for you guys at home. There is an AOC 24-inch monitor for yourselves at home. So if you head on down to this link, esl.pm/HSAOC, you can win yourselves one of those. So if you are a gaming fanatic and you want to play it on the best screens possible, make sure you head on over there so you can grab one for yourself.
Winning one myself.
I don't think so, Dan.
What's going on here? Like, this happens every time. People just constantly tweeting and stuff.
No, I was just...
Yeah. You were joining the competition, were you?
Of course.
All right.
I wouldn't mind winning
Would
one.
you like to split the monitor halfway down?
Absolutely.
I'll play Hearthstone on one side, you play it on the other side.
Great.
Great. That has worked out quite nicely. So, Boar, you've played against both these players in your time, and not in this tournament necessarily. You played against Dan, of course.
Against both of them this tournament.
Yeah, you did play. Oh, so you lost to both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to bring that up. Who do you think has the best lineup, just looking at decks outright?
I like Mysterious's lineup the most. Dan has the aggro paladin, and I think that deck is quite weak in this tournament. It's been targeted quite a lot. Mysterious, he has similar lineup to Ben. Ben's in the final. I think he's got a strong lineup, also strong play, and as we said before, he's had a lot of stage experience. He's very well practiced. He's not going to mess up with any nerves or anything. So yeah, I think Mysterious definitely has the edge here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Mysterious has the exact same lineup as Ben, considering they practice their teammates. Just to go over it for you all at home, Mysterious is running Aggro Druid, Highlander Priest, Tempo Rogue, and some form of Warlock that we have not seen yet. But he's going up against Dan's Aggro Druid, Dragon Combo Priest, Aggro Paladin, and Warlock, which was a Zoo, was it
Yep.
not? We saw the Zoo lock. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup. We're going to see whether Mysterious, now knowing that it's a Zoolock, whether he's going to ban it, whether he's going to leave it up.
It changes things significantly, even though Leroy wasn't quite able to take advantage of the fact that he was against a zoo. It means all of Dan's future opponents now know, and they know what the better ban actually is. I will be interested to see if Mysterious takes advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely. We know his strategy has been to ban Warlock in all his previous games. Him thinking it's control Warlock. You might think with his aggressive lineup, he might switch his ban to Priest. He's text for aggro mirrors versus Zoo. That's another aggro mirror, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a switch to a Priest ban here.
Yeah, Priest ban would make a lot of sense. I mean, throughout this tournament, we've said, why aren't we banning Priest anyway? Just because Priest is so good. One of the best decks, if not the best deck. But now that we've got a Zoolock available, I think that would be the wise decision for Mysterious.
Do you know what? I would love to see the Priest deck actually being played, if for no other reason, just to have another massive argument with Dan Gaskin to my right.
I guess that's the thing. If it was Highlander Priest, then maybe Mysterious would be like, yes, I'm outright banning that Priest, I'm getting rid of it. But because it's the Dragon Combo Priest, maybe he's thinking, well, it's beatable.
Oh yeah, there's that as well. Dragon Priest is definitely worse versus aggro. You might even ban a Rogue or something, but we do see the Priest ban here.
Oh, no. I'm actually a little bit relieved.
Yeah.
I don't want to go
We're
into
sat
trauma
too
again.
close for that.
We are. We're in slapping range.
At least we had Darrock between us to kind of hold back the river. But Priest taken away from Dan, so that doesn't mean he has the Warlock, Rogue, and Paladin. Mysterious has his Warlock taken away. Again, we've not seen it yet so far in the tournament. Alright, I'm going to go for predictions then from you two guys. Falcone, who do you think is going to take this one?
Do you know what? I think Dan really is the dark horse in this tournament. He's definitely a character. And I think he might have an edge over Mysterious. But then again, Mysterious is the guy that's always in the finals. He's got so much experience playing on this stage. Maybe that's going to help him out, because that's one area in which Dan has been struggling all weekend. He does not have experience playing on
I
stage.
think dark is the key word in Dark Horse
Yeah.
as well. Ball Control, who do you think is going to take this one?
Well, Mysterious has been third in the last 3 Prems. the winner of this goes into the next final, and then the loser of that will be third. So I think Mysterious wins this one, loses the next one, finishes third.
All right, well, let's jump into this losers bracket semi-final.
Dan SWF versus Mysterious.
Thank you for recording that for us, Falcone. Yeah, it's
No, mine's better.
Yours is better. Yeah.
Versus.
Well, just the versus bit.
Yeah.
It's
It wasn't fast enough. It wasn't. Anyways,
we'll relay that to him.
I'm being very precious. I realise that.
No, I like the passion. Speaking of passion, Dan is going to be kicking things off with his Paladin, which, boy, you said maybe might be the weak link in this lineup.
Yeah, he's just going with maybe the weakest deck first, trying to get an easy win in. Well, an easy win. Of course, all wins are difficult. But yeah, he keeps a deckhand here because he wants to get his Pirates out and not get eaten by the Galacca. We see that Galacca, which is the key card in Mysterious's hand. Getting that down on a Pirate is game-winning in this matchup.
Yeah, how good is Mysterious's hand to counter this, though? I guess the Blood Cell Corsair. Just the fact that it's a 1-2 lines it up nicely against these 1-1s. It comes with patches, obviously Daimon also very well started to deal with this, but hey, why not play both?
Yeah, he knows Dan's playing a bunch of 3-mana weapons, but he's thinking, if I can get on board ahead early, I can take all the value trades, and being ahead in an aggro mirror early is very important, just because all those value trades are so strong. Yeah, and Dan just, again, hero power he feels is too slow, straight on the board.
It's a lot of early pressure from Dan, which you definitely need, but now this Mark Vyoshraj, Galacca Crawler, sorry, is going to be the perfect way to just combat the early pressure from Dan.
Yeah, Mysterious, not normally an emote there, pulls out the emote, maybe trying to get a little bit of kill on that.
I mean, if you can tilt anyone,
Yes.
it's probably Dan SWF. I know it was a point of controversy, we haven't really discussed it too much, but how Dan celebrated this tournament against you in particular. I know on Twitter we had an interaction which said it's against you and you're not going to react like that. But Helen Leroy didn't take it as well. He didn't take the reaction like well. Do you think it is an overreaction from Dan that wins games?
Normally, just etiquette is you just sort of play GG, and if you're going to celebrate, do it away from the person that you're doing. But I think that people can express their emotions, it's alright. I'm personally, it's not bothered myself what the opponent's doing. I'm mainly concentrated on, did I misplay this series? Where did I go wrong? And I'm thinking everything through in my head about the series.
Yeah. Just when a player has just lost an important series like that, they like to take a second to think for themselves. And like I said on Twitter last night, while I think that there is an element of being respectful to your opponent that should be there, it does make it a little bit more entertaining. And for Hearthstone to continue as a spectator sport, that's important. Like, we need people to be entertained.
Plus the highlight reel of Dan just cheering is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mysterious 40 to Savage Draw here. Isn't really great, but does get some trades, cleaning up the board. And this Living Mana is the key card in the matchup. Paladin has nothing comparable. All these stats on board in an aggro mirror are just too much to deal with. And Dan has, like, maybe Sunkeeper Tower is his top end, and that just isn't good against Living Mana as well. So it counts as the best card in Dan's deck almost.
If only Dive Alpha were able to survive this turn, then he'd actually have a good shot at dealing with this.
Well, there's another one.
But, there you go. Okay, take back what I said entirely. Let's go with if only he draws the next one. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Great. He can't deal with everything though. He can deal with most of these cards now. He can deal with, what's that, 3 of the mana trance, meaning that 2 survive.
Yeah, so Dan's thinking in his head, what draws do I need as well to come back? How does this work? And he thinks, if I clean this up, maybe get a call to arms, I can get back ahead on board. And he's thinking, yeah, cleaning up all these living manas is the best way to win. He needs board to win. He's going to have to take all these trades.
Bit a little smirk from the Sirius there. He knows just how important that Dive Alpha pickup was. As he's picking up Firefly, which goes nicely with the Elemental and the Power of the Wild to buff up everything, this is now verging on impossible for Dan to deal with.
I am surprised by the speed of which both these players are playing this game as well. I know the turns have been relatively simple, but I think they could do with just slowing down a little bit, especially Dan, just to take a step back.
Best draw in the deck? Is that the best draw in the deck?
Potentially. It does buff Mysterious' board, but yeah, he's going to have to trade multiple things in. Dan might be thinking to himself, is there any way I can draw maybe a Righteous Protector or something, and then get a better Tarim and hope Mysterious dead draws something?
Yep. Love how Mysterious actually was the first player there to drop the well played, so he is going to try and use Dan's temperament against him.
Yeah, definitely. We see Dan quite emotive, looking quite down after that turn of the Firefly Power of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the call to arms, maybe a protector here that Dan's looking for.
Okay, well, sort of.
Yeah,
Same difference, right?
Yeah,
He just-
unfortunately 15 damage on board with the Talon. You can't even play it. Yeah, just hoping for... Oh no, yeah, of course, the taunt of the Talon.
Yeah.
But he concedes anyway, so...
Yeah, even so, I think the game was pretty much done by that point. I mean, there is warrant to just playing that out.
I believe he should have played it out, yeah. Like, the 3-3 Divine Shield then eats up, in theory, another 2 of the 3-3s on the board. Yeah, it's looking bad, but there's no reason to concede early.
Sometimes the world where you call to arms, you get Juggler, Double Protector, Juggler Sticks, maybe. Dan's played a lot of this Aggro Paladin deck, I know. It's the main deck he's played on ladder, and I imagine he must just know it's like surely lost, or he just doesn't want to play a game that he's lost. If you talk about mentality, he doesn't want to be sitting there losing a game and just wants to move on to the next one.
Oh, for sure. Getting more frustrated draw after draw. I think it was actually something we heard the players talking about earlier when potentially in a previous series Dan played a little bit too long and was just frustrating himself even more. So maybe he's taken some advice on board from someone else in that aspect. But regardless, he goes 1-0 down. His Paladin has let him down again. And Mysterious takes that 1-0 lead with his Priest and his Rogue left.
Paladin's definitely been one of the more underperforming decks in this tournament, I believe.
Yep, well, we're sat on the desk with ball control, so I think we can say that. Yeah.
Yes, I think ball control will definitely agree with me.
Indeed.
And we ignore that subject completely. It's weird, though, because Paladin has been performing so well across ladder. And I know that ladder and tournament don't always...
And in theory, with banning Warlock, it should be even stronger, but it just hasn't quite worked out that way. And now Dan, with his Warlock, has drawn patches.
Yeah, and then on the other side, you've got Raza, you've got Kazakus, you've got Velen, you've got so much tools already in hand.
Yeah, it's Mysterious doesn't quite have the board clear. Of course, Kazakus is that board clear, but only potentially. So maybe Dan could build up a big board here. We do see that Cleric, though, which counters the 2-1.
Dan has a giggle, as he just says, yeah, I drew patches.
Yep, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, forced to trade with the Cleric. Can't let the Priest start drawing cards here. And Mysterious just has the curve.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have all the tools. He doesn't have all the recipe for the cake, but the Kazakus, if you can get a decent potion here, you've got Raza to follow up.
Yeah, and Dan here, very, very awkward, and gonna pray to not discard his Corridor Creeper.
Good. Would have liked to discard the coin, but that's okay, you know, he'll take it. He's still got Bone Mare in his hand, that's a big value card for a little bit later. The problem is getting something to stick when your opponent is just dropping Kazakus on turn 4.
I quite like the coin not being discarded, though. I kind of like still having the coin for potential turn 6 Bone Mare.
Sure. Yeah. And that was a very, very fast Kazakus potion. I imagine Mysterious got 4 AoE or 5 damage for this Corridor Creeper and just picked it instantly.
Or both.
Or both? Yeah, Dan respecting the 5 damage off the potion. No, he's not. He's just going face. I like that. I thought he traded there. And Mysterious thinks he's just better on board with this play, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, he's not in a hurry either. Like, he's not facing down that much damage. He's played the Raza. That means he can heal every single turn, including next turn with the potion. He's totally fine just playing Raza there.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. And now Dan again. Awkward position. He's forced to trade to protect his 2-4 here.
And again, just playing turns, like, it feels like Dan's just saying, alright, I'm going to pretend I'm playing on ladder. I'm going to forget I'm even on the stage. I'm just going to play this how I would at home and just play nice, quick and easy turns. He's got turn 6, coin into Bone Mare, like, just gets everything out of his hand. He's got a Doom Guard then to follow up, and he's going to get rid of something.
We often talk about how players need to, slow down when they're on the stage. They're nervous, they play too quickly. But sometimes that can be to their detriment. Some players do naturally play faster, and when they slow down, they start to overthink themselves and then make the wrong play as a result. Maybe that's just the way Dan plays at home, and he's realised, hey, I'm going to just keep playing fast. That's what I do.
Yeah, Dan's bought decks like Aggro Paladin that only, I think, Cold Hand's bought because that's what he likes playing, and if he likes playing them fast, might as well play fast here. There are lots of other fast players on the scene, like, for instance, Casey, and that's just a play style that people have. Maybe you force your opponent to play fast, almost just by playing with tempo, they then play with tempo, but yeah, the coin Bone Mare does come down.
It allows you to go with your gut instinct as well sometimes. I like what you said about overthinking, because if you do just go against your gut, then you second guess yourself, whereas sometimes your gut is right. Of course, that doesn't work all of the time, but
sometimes you just got a stomachache.
Yeah, sometimes you just have a stomach. Or trapped wind, as it were.
As we saw yesterday on stage, yeah.
Yeah, so we just get a glimpse of the potion here. Deal 4 to all. That isn't quite good enough to kill the Bone Mare. Mysterious is looking for a better board maybe, but...
Yeah, it's
oh,
4
it's deal
and
5, deal 4. Okay.
4 and 5,
That's
yeah.
good enough to clear everything, yeah.
The best potion, I think, against
Yeah.
Zoo most of the time. Sometimes you want card draw, you are the priest, but it looks like Mysterious is doing a good enough job without.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so in the later stage of the game, that Gul'dan is the card which can come back in games where you think you might otherwise have lost. Dan now has to decide is, do I wait for Gul'dan on 10, or do I just play the Doom Guard and start smacking Mysterious in the head?
Of course, Mysterious knows exactly what Dan just drew because of the huge reaction, and he's about to see it one more time anyway. There you go, he goes with the smacking Mysterious in the head plan.
Yeah, Dan, maybe just giving away too much information there with some of the reactions. And Mysterious, as you say, picking up on it. It's interesting to see how much Mysterious can pick up just from Dan's facial expressions.
Mysterious is very quiet. He's almost the opposite personality-wise to Dan. He doesn't say much at all, and obviously you can see he's very level-headed as he plays, and he's being very calculating as well. He's using the emotes as much as he can just to throw Dan off.
Yeah, Dan considering trading there because of Anduin. You're not beating Anduin with no cards in hand with the Priest on 25. Definitely going face there is the right option.
So we're thinking Lyra Shadow of Death here? Is that overkill? You can death the Doom Guard and then you're leaving a target that forces 5 damage to not go towards your face.
That's true, but how worried is Mysterious about taking that 5 damage at the moment? Taking 10 damage is a little bit worse. Maybe he can just play the death and not play Lyra.
Yeah, so Mysterious is thinking of the worst case scenario.
I like that too.
And he's going 7-7, contest the board really well here. Might as well just play it. Only Bone Mare can come down here to really annoy me, and that's just one draw, and he's already seen one of them.
Yep. And then he can just death the minion that's
Yeah, as well.
But now it's looking like Dan puts his head down. He's got to trade both of these into Velen, and that's not nice. Oh, he's not going to do it? Oh.
No, he's just going face, saying, you heal for 4, I'm pushing 10.
Binding heal allows him to heal for a little bit more than 4, though.
Yes, of course. He's just... Yeah, at this stage, Dan is hoping that Mysterious has one of the worst hands he could have with cards like Mind Blast. Even then, Mind Blast would push damage back, but basically just no Binding Heal, no Spirit Lash, for instance.
You can play Lyra in combination with all of these spells as well, and I think we might see another concede from Dan as well, as it's looking likely he's going to be facing a 2-0 deficit in this loser bracket semi-final.
Is there any reason not to play the Binding Heal this turn? Maybe it's not necessary to play it.
Yeah, the circle, there's no 14 damage burst coming from the Warlock side.
Do it anyway.
Having said that, 10 heal and a free card.
Well, that obviously baits out the concede. You can see Dan reaching for his mouse right there, and that's going to be the end of this game. As Dan Gaskin, to be clear, correctly said, we've got 2-0 lead.
We do, and Mysterious, it doesn't look phased. By any of it. He used the emote and he said greetings when Dan threw his hands up aloft when Gul'dan was drawn, but even when Gul'dan was discarded, Mysterious didn't even bat an eyelid.
But in the game before that as well, Mysterious put the well played down before Dan had even emoted anything. So
Similarly to how you approach a game, I think, Ball Control, is you don't really show much emotion, except when you are on the brink of losing. You just have your head in your hands and you're thinking and you are solely focused on Hearthstone. Is there a position where you feel like people are too emotive and that hurts their Hearthstone ability? Like, have you ever got reads off people because they are like overreacting or celebrating?
Yeah, you see some players will just look around the stage, they look up at the sky when they draw a card or something, and you can definitely, if you see it a lot, just repetition of what people do, you can definitely start making reads from that. That's why I'm very much just trying to stay in the zone, hands overhead, just tunnel visioned on my screen, and that's it.
We had a nice montage yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, of the game between you and Dan. It was a montage of holding head. I said it was like a Nurofen advert or something.
It's just me tunnel visioning. I don't want to see any of the crowd, anything else, just only the game. None of Dan as well. Yeah.
How much harder do you think it makes it playing in front of a crowd compared to just playing on your own stream, for example?
Well, to start with, playing in front of a crowd back in Season 1 of this, it was definitely a new experience. It definitely got to me. I made some misplays I wouldn't normally have made. You're definitely a bit anxious about stage, about prize money and stuff. But with a lot of experience over time, you can just make it so it's just another game, essentially.
Yeah. But for a player like Dan, who hasn't played on stage before this weekend, yeah, it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
again.
another game of Hearthstone as Patches is drawn again, and if that is one way to tilt you going into the game 3 and potentially the final game of the tournament, that is not going to be what Dan wanted to see, as, again, another telltale sign to Mysterious, saying, okay, I've done it again, I've drawn Patches.
Well, Coil is a great pickup from the Swashbuckler as well, giving Mysterious that extra damage he may need at some point to clear one of these big Zoo minions.
Yep. Having said that, with the Patches, Dan's hand still is good. He's got multiple 1-drops here that can test the 1-1s very well. He shouldn't be thinking too much about how unlucky he might be about Patches, and more thinking, how can I utilise this Patches well this game, and how can I get on board?
Yeah, even if it turn 4, you play Captain and Patches, for example, it isn't the end of the world. There is a lot of overreaction to drawing Patches most of the time that probably isn't necessarily warranted.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just the whole problem of being 1 card down for the rest of the game. Like, what was that extra card you could have drawn that you did not get the chance to draw because you didn't get Patches for free?
Yeah, so Mysterious was an awkward hand here. He's obviously, this turn, looks like a dagger, but with this Edwin stranded, maybe he could Shadow Step one of his creatures and play it next to him with the Edwin, but then you're missing out on this 1-1 on board. We'll see what he does. Shadow Step can be used later as well with just other cards like SI for more damage.
Yeah, his hand's pretty clunky, Mysterious, to be honest. I mean, having the Leroy Jenkins is nice because you've got burst damage later, and you know that the Warlock is going to be tapping themselves quite down anyway.
You called it right there, Boar. Shadow Step is going to be used just in order to make it a 4-4 Edwin, which isn't even that exciting.
Yeah, and now from Dan's perspective, he knows that Edwin's going to come down next turn for certain. Having said that, he has no choice on this play, unfortunately. If he could prepare for that, he would. Oh, and he doesn't play the Patches here because of that dagger charge, wants to use it with the Captain, which makes a lot of sense.
Mysterious picks up Kelliser. Has Dan drawn Kelliser once yet in this series? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Obviously, he doesn't run it in the Paladin deck, but...
And it's typical that Kelliser is drawn after you've played the Shadow Step, but the fact that you've now got another Swash, another chance to generate a card, which is really important, especially when your opponent is going to be tapping into card after card after card, you generating things is going to be very highly valuable.
Yeah, so Mysterious is very scared of a Soulfire here on his Edwin, so he's going for this line. Imagine to see a Mortal Core coming down to finish off this 1-2, and then just drawing buffed cards is obviously good, and maybe make a bigger Edwin as well. Yeah, interesting interaction there. Coil Cooper gets reduced by the coil.
Yeah, when the card is drawn at the same time as the minion is destroyed, it works much the same way as the Spellstone, like Ultimate Infestation. It gets the buff.
Yeah, Dan's side, he's looking to use his captains together with the Patches. Just plays this 1-5. There's no Cold Bloods in Mysterious deck, so no punish there, and he wants to get the Councilman down as early as possible so it can trade up into, say, a Chain Gang next turn.
Just looking like such a good position for Swashbuckler. For Mysterious here. That's not going to be very useful, though. Not for a long time. Discard your hand, clear the board. Cataclysm.
I'm thinking maybe against Gul'dan that could be useful, but but that's a very far away, yeah.
It's just the issue of throwing out all of your resources. And as the rogue, you often do have a lot of resources in your hand. You have a lot of high-end stuff.
Yeah, so Mysterious is scared of a potential Soulfire killing off the MP. Could have hit the Councilman here while it was still on 1 attack, get the value trade while you can. Now this Councilman's protected by some Taunt that could snowball very, very large here, and potentially trade into that large Edwin that Mysterious might have been planning to make.
Yeah, that Councilman is actually going to do some work. It's a card that's seen a little bit of play recently. It's not... When it first came out, we thought it was going to be in every Zoo deck ever. The card seemed insane. But here, Dan is showing why the card still has some power, especially behind a Sound Chain Gang.
Yeah, Mysterious just doing some mathy. He can only kill off 2 minions here, so can't go Cold Creeper and the Edwin, but just a 6/6 for 2 mana seems good to me.
Someone just got very excited.
Oh no, he can play them, yeah. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Cold Creeper plus the Edwin down.
Yeah, you can get a 4-4. And now that Kelliser has been played by Mysterious as well, does that change Dan's game plan at all? Is it one of those situations where you just have to go more aggressive because your opponent's going to be drawing more significant minions?
Yeah, he's thinking about cards in hand as well. From Dan's side, Mysterious has had this Leroy and this Bowmare in hand for the whole game. The card on the far right, no read. Obviously, the Swashbuckler card is random. Dan might be thinking to himself, if Mysterious has a fairly dead turn next turn, how can I come back from this board position? And he's thinking that this Captain plus Patches is his best way to do this.
So he's killing off the SI7 agent with the patches, I presume, or the Saranching. It doesn't really matter. It's where he's sending his damage elsewhere. I guess you're just killing off the 6/6.
Yeah, he might try and bait out for the Dreadlord. Maybe hope that the 6/6 trades into the 5/3 and then get the Dreadlord down. So we might see him just go face it and hope that Mysterious essentially messes up or doesn't play around the card that's down now.
Risky play, but yeah, he's going for it, and then keeping the taunt alive obviously makes sense. Hoping the 4/4 trades into that, the 6/6 trades into the Councilman, but the problem is Mysterious then has 6 mana to do pretty much whatever he wants with.
Yeah, Mysterious already pulled out that patches with the Swashbuckler on turn 1, so Captain doesn't buff anything here, but we do see Dan reap the rewards here of his play, and this Dreadlord will swing the board back. Back to an extent, of course. They were now seeing Caller Creeper and Captain coming down.
Yeah, that's a big problem, yes. Dealing with the board that was there before, but there's a brand new 6/6 and 4/4 uncontested. And Dan is only putting up a 4/5 to deal with that. It's not good enough.
Yeah, so no AoE, of course, in Dan's deck. Still thinking of a way back into this game, maybe a second Dreadlord off the top if he plays the first one. Yeah, of course, this Bone Mare coming down from Mysterious next turn. Dan's just praying that it's not Bone Mare. Maybe another awkward situational card. But of course, with Cast Vision, we can see it.
Yeah, I think we're slowly creeping towards another 3-0, the second one running. And it's going to be for Mysterious, which would mean Dan SWF is going to be eliminated from the tournament.
No more interviews with Dan.
It's a shame. At least we got one. I'm happy that we were able to see one, although I'm not going to be too happy about it because Boar is here. And
the other one. We got another interview.
Yes, we got the one when he won this second game, yeah. But the good thing about Premiership is we know there's going to be another season. That means we will see Boar again, and we'll probably see Dan again as well, because they'll be invited back to compete. But 15 damage on board now. Nothing Dan can do. Head in hands. Flame Imp drawn, probably conceding. Mysterious moves on to face Toast Monster in the loser bracket final.
And what a game that is going to be. I think, all things considered, weighed up, I'm quite happy with this result. I've been saying for the entire weekend, it would be great to see Mysterious get a good result here. He's been here consistently, every time just low-key performing incredibly well. And like Boar said, this is not like guaranteed third place at the league.
Yeah.
Is it just a curse for him?
Well, you say it's a curse. I'd be quite happy with third place for all 4 ESL seasons. It's strange. Maybe he will break that curse this time against Toast Monster. Definitely can do it and set up an all M&M final.
I think he is the literal corridor creeper of the ESL Premiership. He always is just there, and then he just reduces
Does he get
his
cheaper?
placement. He goes up from like third and then second, and maybe he can even take the title. But he would have to beat his teammate then in the grand final if he's to get that. Toast Monster is in the way first. That series, it was hard for Dan, let's be honest. I mean, if we look at his draws, there wasn't really much he could have done outside of what he already was doing. Is there a sense of justice, do you think, therefore, considering how he drew against you, for example?
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's more of a sort of deck building thing. You say in-game he had no decisions, but all the decisions in that series were made outside the game. Maybe the decks that Dan brought just weren't as good as Mysterious's decks, and that's what punished him.
And it was a punish indeed. And it is sad to see Dan eliminated from the tournament because he has been a very animated character in the Premiership. But we are going to have a chat down on the stage with Mysterious, so Frankie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dan. There are 3 players remaining in the Prem, and one of those players is Mysterious. Mysterious, take a breath. Very good. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I'm so happy right now.
But you're going up next against Toast Monster in the lower bracket final. Can you beat him this time? Because obviously he sent you into that lower bracket yesterday.
I believe it's gonna be difficult because he has the kind of same lineup as me, except he has more Golakas, which is bad for me. But I think I have all my chance.
You ready for his crabs?
Yes, I'm ready for these crabs.
There you go. Toast Monster, do not give Mysterious your crabs. He's ready for them. He's got an antidote. Now, it could be an M&M final. How likely do you think you'll be seeing Big Ben in that final?
Honestly, for M&M and for me, that would be the dream, actually.
And one of your bosses from M&M is actually watching you today. Any pressure from that?
So we have one boss here and one boss watching us from France. So they are delighted by our results. So.
I was going to say, they really have to be satisfied with your performance. And hopefully, regardless of what happens, we're going to see both of you in the Prem next year, right?
Exactly. So that's a great thing for the team, and we are also really happy and proud of ourselves.
Well, congratulations. Go get ready because we're going to see you playing Toast Monster after this break.
tháng đến làm video một tiếng hay đâu có về
đêm bà này bị lẹn làm nào?
đùa tối thầu đấy mà.
You ready? Hả? Ê, boy, hả? You ready? Hả? Biết nhưng mà bỏ cái gì vụ này nó vào á.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Gì thế này? Bà tiên này thì vừa xuống vừa chạy.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com. Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
We're back here once again. Now we can actually hear what I'm saying at the ESL Premiership, powered by Windows 10 and Alienware. And two very important things are about to happen. Firstly, I'm in charge of the banter bell, but slightly more importantly, we have the lower bracket final. And with me is going to be Falcone and Dalek.
That's Dan Gaskin, that is. He sabotaged you there.
It did turn it off.
100% his fault.
I know those flashing lights can be a little bit confusing, but
I see lots of flashing lights all the time.
we'll get it eventually.
But this is an exciting game, though. Toast Monster versus Mysterious. Mysterious literally coming straight off of the win of his last series. He's about to play again. No break for him whatsoever. Toast Monster, the guy who I believe a lot of the pro players have been saying over the last kind of half day, they believe he's got the best lineup to win it.
I would absolutely agree with you. Certain tech decisions within his fairly standard lineup, I think, have given him a really, really good shot at taking this tournament. For the biggest standout, obviously, being the Galaka Crawlers and Eviscerates in his Tempo Rogue, which has given him such a good shot against all these aggressive decks where Galaka's swinging the game so massively.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like breaking Factory? I mean, you just found out there's not even enough time to run to the bathroom between rounds, let alone actually prepare yourself for a new entire lineup and match. How do you think it's going to affect him?
Oh, I think for both of these players, it will actually affect them quite heavily, because obviously Mysterious has been represented in every single ESL Prem finals thus far, so he's an old hand at actually being on stage. But even then, when you get further and further in, right down to the losers bracket finals now, the pressure will start to get to you, and just being that mentally taxed, thinking that hard already in 2-3 series today is going to make a big impact on their play.
It's not going to be easy. It's not. It doesn't make it any easier, does it? Like, the players like to sit down, they like to reflect over the game they've just done through. They like to watch the VODs. They like to watch the VOD of the person they've got to play against as well. Like, Mysterious will have been all in on focusing about playing against Dan before that game. He's had no time to prepare to play against Toast Monster. Although you imagine he'll have done a significant amount of that overnight, it's not as nice as preparing just before, reminding yourself of the deck list, etc., etc.
Yeah, the winner of this is going to have that problem again in the final. They're going to have Ben, who's probably sat with his feet up somewhere,
He's just watching.
Break, just enjoying himself.
He'll just be watching, won't he, live?
And he gets 2 chances at it as well. So the winner of this one, Ben, is going to get either an all M&M final, which I'm sure they'll be looking forward to, or he gets a rematch, or Toast Monster will get a rematch against Ben, which also, either or, I think we're going to have a fantastic final.
Yeah, Ben's quite happy either way. Like he said to Frankie earlier, he beat Toast Monster once, he can do it again. Look, and he gets 2 chances, as you just said. If it's Mysterious' teammate, then he's going to be happy with that too, because they'll have practiced together, and he still gets 2 chances, he's still got the advantage, but it'll just make the team happier.
And as for Toast Monster within this particular series, in terms of rethinking his strategy in this particular series, he doesn't have to do all too much compared to playing against Big Ben in his last series, because what with Mysterious and Ben being teammates, their lineups are very, very similar. We've seen the same strategies coming through from both players throughout, with the aggro druid, I believe the control warlock, which we can expect to see from Mysterious as well, has led to Toast Monster once again banning priest and leaving up that warlock.
It's funny how these strategies change, isn't it, throughout the tournament? I said the same thing at Seat Story about how people started by banning priest and shifted it to warlock. That's like the other way round. Players have started not banning the warlock. Why has that happened?
It's because of Hello Leroy's conspiracy that he thinks everyone is secretly bringing Zoo. But even here, actually, when Toast Monster realizes that his opponent has brought the kind of anti-aggro control warlock, he hasn't got an aggro lineup. He's got an anti-aggro lineup. He knows that his rogue deck quite obviously sucks against the control warlock from Mysterious, but he's okay with that because it sucks against the priest anyway, so you may as well get that out of the way because it is just the best deck.
And sticking with the plan, Toast Monster has banned that priest out once again. Mysterious, The ban that everybody else has been doing is banning out the Warlock, exactly as we expected.
Yeah, and makes sense for Mysterious. If you're bringing an aggro druid, you kind of have to get that out of the way because it's just another aggro deck that could be a flex spot for one of these slightly slower decks like a Jade Druid instead.
Okay, let's find out who's going to win. We'll go over to the game.
Mysterious versus Toast Monster.
So jumping into game one, it's once again going to be that control Warlock from Mysterious that we saw from Big Ben in the previous series. Going to be a very, very nice matchup for him to get things going because this Rogue, not teched, I would imagine, to deal with the Warlock, is going to be struggling.
Yeah, this is it's such a difficult matchup, this one. As we've known right from the beginning of this expansion, when Control Warlock sort of first reached prominence. Before that, Rogue was considered one of the best decks in Hearthstone, and now suddenly there's this deck which is almost a hard counter.
Yeah, that's why Rogue is struggling, obviously, because it's one of the most polarized decks at the moment, which is actually kind of a strange position for it to be in. It's just a fairly run-of-the-mill tempo-aggressive deck because it really suffers against the Warlock, suffers against the Kazakus Priest quite a lot as well, but it has a very nice job against all of the other tempo aggro decks as just the premier early board control deck. Always seems to come out ahead in the first few turns.
There's the second Librarian there. So if Mysterious wants to, he can just slam everything onto the board, take 2 more damage, heal up a little bit with the Mistress of Mixtures, and that seems good to me. Just start ripping through that deck.
Yeah, he kind of wants to put himself in a position where Hellfire won't be destroying too many of his own things. But with this line of play, he won't even need to play Hellfire on turn 4,
exactly,
because he's curving out way better than the Rogue is doing. He can follow up with the Stonehill, which is very nice as well, and he'll just be ahead on board, and then he can start tapping.
Who needs to bring Zoo anyway, Leroy? We've got 1, 1, 2, 3 going on here.
Yeah.
Man.
Why that you don't? When you just don't need to control the deck, the game with spells because your board presence is better. That says a lot. And Toast, how? Okay. The real question we should be asking is how does Toast get himself back into this game?
Well, on the early turns against Control Warlock, they are actually surprisingly very vulnerable to a massive Edwin in the first few turns because the Spellstones, unless they're activated very quickly to a high amount, are not going to be getting the job done. And it's a lot later that cards like the Siphon Soul come down. So if an Edwin were picked up this turn, maybe the next turn for Toast Monster, he could start to try and assemble a giant Edwin to push back against this board. And there is that exact card, so he's got himself the chance of pushing forward enough minion stature. But even then, the Hellfire, the minion presence on board, it may just not even get there.
Kari Fellhound is an interesting card to pick up from the Swashbuckler there. It feels horrible, because as the Rogue, you don't want to be throwing out 2 of your potentially valuable cards. Do you think the upside, if it's great stats, makes it worth it?
I doubt he'll be playing it for a good long while. That's just an extra bit of gas to follow up at the end, which is actually a pretty powerful card. I mean, considering how bad some of the Warlock cards can be, that's a very nice way to get you just a tiny bit extra push. As the second Void Lord is picked up for Mysterious, an absolutely disastrous draw at this point, because getting the lackeys rolling with Dark Pact is step A in your win condition.
Yeah.
Step A.
Step A.
I did think
Step
that was
2.
Step 2.
Yeah. Step 2 is clearing the board. And he's got step 2, he's just missing step A.
So he's now actually got to do it the old-fashioned hard way, which is just hang on in there by any means necessary until turn 9. And you know, that makes you wonder if Void Lord is actually the problem card in the deck, or if it's just a lackey that's actually the card we should be considering nuking out of sight.
Well, obviously, some of these Warlocks have been running the weapon, and others haven't. I guess that's fallen out of favour a little bit more recently, along with the cubes.
Yeah, so in this particular tournament, Warlock is being brought to hard counter aggro. And block. The matchup is obviously favoured against all the aggressive decks, but it's not that absurd. Whereas this deck, with all the removal with Defiles and Hellfires, even Stonehill Defenders thrown in there, there's so much taunt, so much removal. The Rogue is just going to have such a hard time getting through at all.
And then the question is, Mysterious, how do you want to lock the game out? Would you like to play Nozov? Would you like to play Gul'dan? Take your pick.
Yes. Well, obviously he'll have his pick of the litter when he gets to turn 10, but for the moment, it's a little bit sketchier than that, because the only way he can fill out his mana on these turns is with very risky plays. The Dirty Rat,
You do not want to be pulling out a Scale Bane. A Bone Mare's kind of rough at this point in the game, even though you're denying the Battle Cry.
He has only got to get to turn 8, of course, not to turn 9.
Right,
He gets the Twisting Nether on 8, which should be enough. Although obviously Leroy can just slap him in the face.
Still 3 turns away though.
It's a long way away.
Is that how Leroy attacks? Just a quick slap in the face?
Yeah, it depends if he's got chicken or not, really.
Ah, sure. Yeah, I'm pretty grouchy when I'm hungry too.
Exactly.
Shadow Step pickup for Toast Monster is a pretty nice tempo swing in his favour. Obviously with the ability to take the value trade from the Vilespine, bounce it back and attack for 8 with the Edwin. This is what he needs to be doing if he's pulling ahead, because he needs damage right now that sticks.
So let's see, that is 10 damage being pushed this turn, 16 health remaining for Mysterious. Mysterious doesn't have a good turn 6. He's got the second Dirty Rat. That's about it. He's got a Gold Shy Footman as well. Sorry, very important. Gold Shy Footman there. That's 2 taunts. But that Dirty Rat could pull out either Bone Mare or Lakari Fellhound. Both would be pretty horrible.
It's true. Say what you will about Mysterious, he is ready for action. But he's going to be taking a little while to get through to those Twisting Nethers, because again, you couldn't construct much of a worse hand at this point, to be perfectly honest.
I just wanted to check, Neil, did you understand that joke?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Famously does not play with sound on. Oh, he gets the Lakari Fellhound, okay.
This is so rough for Mysterious, given how it should be going in this matchup, because not only does his hand suck, the way that his hand is constructed means a lot of draws in his deck are rubbish. Dark Pack does nothing.
Really funny.
Lackey does nothing.
Sorry, Carl. The Ready for Action joke.
Oh, you heard the sound.
You have sound on, yeah?
Good job.
Sorry.
Good job. Yeah. Good job. Well, it's backwards, because the Warlock had the great start and the Rogue had the horrible start. And we were sat there saying, well, there's no way the Rogue's going to take control of the board, because Mysterious is doing that with his minions. And now, somehow, this has happened.
Yeah, and the underrated tap last, the thinking man's play. I'm obviously being sarcastic.
The thinking man's play.
Yeah. As that is lethal, already available to Toast Monster. He takes a patches drawn rogue game and beats the control Warlock.
Like you do.
This is unbelievable.
That is absolutely incredible. That's not what the Warlock is supposed to do.
It's not what either of the decks are supposed to do.
And then, well, the Rogue is supposed to kill you quickly, but it's not supposed to kill you quickly against deck that plays 3 9s on turn 5.
Yeah, it's not supposed to not play anything for the first 3 turns either. I don't know what I just watched. I kind of want to pretend that game didn't happen. Can we start again?
Oh, no, because that was like the perfect draw on time of Edwin Van Cleef. That was pretty much the only out, I would say, for Toast Monster at that point, because he needed a big minion that pushed a lot of pressure. The Shadow Step was perfect, the Leroy was perfect, but for Mysterious it went the exact other way. He could... Maybe you could argue that on his early turns he should have been developing a few less minions, tapping a bit more to help him find those more important cards like Lackey and Defile. And if he didn't develop as many minions, all of a sudden his Hellfire does become more impactful. But as we said, the fact that he was ahead on board until turn 4, I think says a lot about his play, that it was probably correct against a Rogue.
Yeah, we talk about 1-0s not always being as much as a 1-0. This is almost more than a 1-0.
Right,
because now that Warlock is really exposed in this lineup.
And now the... Yeah. Whew, this is going to be a tough matchup again for Mysterious. Well, actually, that was going to be a good matchup. This is now an unfavourable
That was
matchup.
definitely something... I thought that was a free win for Toast.
Yeah.
For Mysterious, quite honestly.
It's a great matchup for him, and as we see here, double Galactic Crawler to get things going for Toast Monster, who is obviously 1-0 up, and we will get that corrected as soon as possible. But for Mysterious, the only tempo swings he has available to start wrestling back the early game would be Coin Captain. Now obviously Coin SI7 Agent as well, but the Galacas will just be making such quick work of that.
Oh man, it's just disgusting, isn't it? Yeah, Mysterious can coin out the SI7 Agent this turn. He doesn't have to play the South Sea Captain, and nor will he want to play the South Sea Captain. Patches doesn't really do all that much here, but when that Captain does come down, which should be on turn 3, it's not going to be a happy time for him.
As a consolation prize for Mysterious, though, the Corridor Creeper, it always feels so good to draw at the first turn that something's dying in a game, because you want your other stuff before then so you can start locking down the board. When trades actually start happening, you love a Creeper.
Unfortunately, the thing that's dying is him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the downside of this situation right now.
That's a very good point. But at the same time, for Toast Monster here, it's not the most cut and dry play I've ever seen. Savage Roar is fairly underwhelming at the moment, eating his own patches. It's not a bad play, actually, but
It's a very interesting play because it actually baits out the captain.
Yeah.
You've seen one of the crawlers.
Good point.
So it might be a play he'll seriously consider for that point of view, although I don't like eating my own minions in general.
Yeah, me neither.
It tastes really bad.
I think you want a nice wide board against a rogue, like a 2-3 and a 1-1 is probably better than a 3-4 when you have a taunt in the way to protect against the dagger, obviously. And Toastmonster is going with that line of play. And I think I can respect this because the double Galactic Crawler could be insanely good on the following turn, obviously, which it looks like it very much will be. But even if not, the Savage Roar becomes a lot better. And wow.
Does that hurt?
Oh, nom, nom, nom,
Yeah,
nom, nom, nom.
it's just hurts.
Between Falcone eating his notes and slapping himself in the head, that was a pretty painful turn up here in the desk, let alone on the floor down there.
On the ride to the venue today, one of the people in production was telling us about the Good Samaritan laws in the EU, where if you see someone dying, you legally have to offer them help. And I think for Mysterious here, he could do with some first aid if we have any first aiders available.
There's about 35 people there just sitting watching this unfold.
Somebody
They're all culpable.
do something. We're about to see the third 3-0 in a row at this rate.
Yeah.
I know we're quite far from that result just yet, but we are heading in that direction.
Yeah, and if you do help him out, make sure you're clothed this Premiership, please. Okay, so moving swiftly on, that Savage Roar is looking really, really dangerous right now.
Yeah, it most certainly is. With Direwolf Alpha as well, this is what, 6-8 plus 10, 16 damage, 18 damage, I believe, available right now. You could even take some value trades with the patches and the hero into the Corridor Creeper, slam everything else to face, and then hope to close out the game on the very next turn.
Yeah, and getting the damage in while it's available, always a decent thing to do.
I would agree.
Well, that's just 20 damage, that right there.
Is it 20?
20?
Ah, must have miscounted.
Wait. Oh, that's a 6. I thought that was a 5 on the crab.
Yeah.
21 then.
Oh, 21. I was even more wrong.
Yeah, choosing not to take all of the available just to make sure that everything sits around looking great.
I mean, with this play as well, it means that his opponent can't even go Corridor Creeper Valspine. Obviously, the Creeper was not drawn at the start of the game, so I don't think Toastmonster could have realised that this was a benefit of his line of play. But it does end up working out for him. Mysterious concedes a game that was completely unwinnable right from the get-go. And Toastmonster is one game away from ending up in the grand finals of
Yeah,
the
but he's
ESL
got to win with
Premiership.
Priest. I mean,
Oh,
my
man,
goodness.
that's...
Whoa, how's he going to do
I don't
that?
even know why you'd bring Priest in your lineup.
He's
It's
got
such
to
a
win
bad deck.
Priest against Warlock, which is worth mentioning. He did lose in the last series he played against Big Ben. He got his Velen ratted out and just did not have the damage to get it done.
They were talking about that series a lot downstairs, and they're very happy that you don't want to try and catch the Vaza with the Rat. They're both very happy that you do want to try and catch the Velen much later in the game, which is what Ben did, as opposed to how we were saying, well, maybe you sit there and try and get Vaza. He's just happy to double attack the Velen. But I don't think that Toast, if he does get back to the final, will be throwing out a Doomsayer next time.
Yes, I would say most certainly not. It's the same in Quest Mage as it is in this Raza Priest, where you're trying to protect your key card from Dirty Rats. Obviously in Quest Mage it's the Antonidas, whereas in this deck it's the Raza and the Velen. Not going to be this particular matchup, as Toastmonster has an arguably maybe better time, but probably not actually, as the Rogue maybe has a slightly better shot, but a favourable matchup to get things going without a doubt.
Toastmonster making a huge splash in this tournament so far. The fact that it's his first big entrance as well, and he's already got onto top 3, possibly even top 2 if he wins this series, is a big deal. But double Corridor Creeper and Prince Kaliseth in Mysterious's opening hand is going to do some work to stop Toastmonster in his tracks.
Yeah, this is quite a cool little hand for Mysterious, because it's not as good as it could be in some other matchups, because the Corridor Creeper is obviously at its best when you're playing against another tempo-based deck that runs patches where a bunch of stuff is going to die. But against the Priest, if you can get enough stuff to die before turn 6, that's
a good draw.
Before the Dragonfire Potion is going to come down, it can be very impactful indeed to push the tremendous amount of damage that's needed in the mid-game to take this matchup.
Alright, so Toastmonster, what does he do about this? He kind of... Well, I guess he doesn't really have to play it on Shadow Step, because it would have been played immediately if it were in Mysterious's hands. So he can just leave it alive, drop Cleric maybe, but then the Dagger and the Prince kills the Cleric.
Did he not Cleric on turn 1?
He did not Cleric on turn 1.
Ooh, interesting. I would I would think you pretty much always cleric on
I like
turn
to
one
cleric on
against
turn
rogue.
against rogue,
Yeah,
especially a rogue that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But he's choosing to hold on to that. If the rogue doesn't do anything, obviously, and kept cards, which he did, he knows there's stuff happening. So maybe he decided to hold on because there's something being kept back.
The thing is, though, I don't think you'd keep backstab against priest. Basically, the majority of the time, I don't think you
would keep Keleseth.
You would keep Keleseth, yeah, obviously. But
Against Highlander priests specifically, like against other priests, maybe you would.
Yeah, against Highlander priest, I don't think you keep the backstab. So the cleric very likely will be able to attack it and heal at least one thing. And even if it's not doing that, it's denying the priest, the rogue, the ability to do stuff it wants to do. And he could have drawn a card off of the Keleseth. It would have just given him net one card already, whereas now it just dies.
Yeah. Can't argue that logic. I don't understand why it wasn't played to begin with.
It's just a bit too optimistic, I think, because you're trying to get the Circle of Healing Pyromancer stuff to occur. But if you get Pyromancer, you want to use it to clear the board, really, not to draw cards. So I think it's a bit optimistic.
And now Mysterious is in that great position where, yeah, okay, he doesn't really have minions to trade into, but Toast Monster is going to be wanting to clear this board as soon as possible. As soon as the board does get cleared, a couple of 5/5s are going to get the board.
So it's going to be all in on Toast Monster to find that all-important board clear for the Corridor Creepers. He's got the first sweep with the Fell Bloom obviously available if he wants to take
That's the second one.
Ooh, as for the second option,
just take both damages here.
Yeah,
it just plays around the situation where one of the things doesn't die.
I entirely agree.
You kind of waste the damage. You do 5 instead. You do 1 instead of the 5, but it doesn't matter. It clears the board up.
And that's all you need to do. Like in this matchup, the priest isn't in a hurry to kill the rogue. The priest is in a hurry to stabilize and get Anduin pinging down those minions.
this is going to work out really nicely for Toast Monster, because the Kazakus Potion will do enough, if he chose damage, it's worth saying, to clear off the vast majority of what's going on. And then Spirit Lash on the following turn will do the rest of the work to clear up this board entirely.
Mysterious already playing a Corridor Creeper, so although that potion alone doesn't deal with everything on the board, it deals with everything of importance.
We've been getting Shadow Word Death, which is worth considering here. It's just about what... This is very much a turn where you plan this turn and the next turn right now. Because the only thing the Rogue's going to do next turn is play a thing. He's not going to play Bone Mare or any kind of buff card. It's just at the very best going to be some kind of a reasonably statted minion. So how are you going to deal with that as well next turn? It's not really the answer for Toast Monster to be able to deal with that, actually. He's going to have to get some other way. Maybe Acolyte of Pain Spirit Lash will be able to buy him the time to get to Psychic Scream, hopefully, for his sake.
The thing we always point out in this situation is drawn all of his early game early, which is obviously beautiful. Even better, it means you're going to draw all of your late game into the late game, so it will likely work out nicely for you. We have seen some bottom card Anduins already today.
Yeah, we've seen one very, very vivid. I have a very vivid memory of that game, and so does Show.
Ooh. This turn's getting very interesting for Toast Monster because he's under a very respectable amount of pressure for the moment in this stage of the game. So he really wants to be clearing off what he can. And Master Spell Spirit Lash does a decent job of getting that started. He's going to go with the Raza instead as the strongest play onto the board. But as ever, the Priest is left really vulnerable to Bone Mare and really vulnerable to Leroy.
Yeah, and with his second Bone Mare pickup, Mysterious is going to start to do some damage. He doesn't need to play around Anduin just yet, though. He does need to play around Psychic Scream, Dragonfire Potion.
He does actually need to play around Anduin for the moment because of the coin that's been kept in Toast Monster's hand.
And all those other cards as well, though. It's just an extra card.
Do you know what? There's me saying, yeah, but maybe Mysterious hasn't been tracking it. I can see the hand and I didn't point out the coins. I have no excuse.
And so at this point, Mysterious, to be honest, he can play around it a bit by not playing the Corridor Creeper.
Yeah.
But if Anduin comes down, he's in a really dire spot.
Yeah, there's no real reason to drop the Corridor Creeper here, is there? Like, he's got lethal on board anyway, even without it. So how does Toast Monster put a turn together here? Does Priest of the Feast coin Master Spell do enough? No, it doesn't do nearly enough, does it?
It does a lot.
It does a lot. It gets rid of the Bone Mare. Well, Raza can trade into the Bone Mare. It gets rid of the buff on the Acolyte of Agony. It gets rid of the buff on the Tar Creeper, and it means
1 and 2 and 3. There'd be 6-7 damage left available to see on board.
Okay, and Priest of the Feast will have just healed for 6. So plus
the
Raza
2
as
for
well.
nothing, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Let's see what he draws first. So
I
that's
guess
3 health on the line if he's not going that route, I don't think.
Okay, this works too.
So he would have ended up at basically 13 health with the alternate line of play, minus the 7,
down to about 6.
Yeah, the reason we were attracted to the line of play we were talking about is because we can see what's going to happen. He could not see this, he's already played round 1 and it's 2 games.
Mysterious takes his first game of the series. Finally, we don't have a 3-0. Finally.
We don't indeed, but I think Toast Monster could potentially have taken our line of play to play around it a bit more heavily because it clears up a good amount of the board and it's just safer against Leroy and Bowman.
It just mathed out better, didn't it?
Yeah.
I do feel though with his line, next turn he gets if there is a next turn, which there wasn't, he can go Priest of the Feast and then do all that other good stuff with Spirit Lash and gain a whole chunk of life in one go, and then that's the play to win in his eyes. He gains a lot of health next turn if there is a next turn.
That's a very good point, but yeah, actually, due to the fact that the Priest of the Feast would die off, maybe it wasn't quite good enough in the long term.
True.
Because obviously, no matter what happens, if there's a Bone Mare, he's in a dire position. So I can respect his line of reasoning.
Either way, we are still in the position where Toast Monster needs to win 1 game of Hearthstone with Priest versus Mysterious, who has to win with Druid and Warlock.
Yeah, and this is kind of the worst version of both of these decks to be beating the Priest. Because obviously an Armor Jade Druid has a pretty good matchup against Priest, I would say, where they can apply a good amount of pressure with the Jade if they draw that way, or just armor way out of range if it goes that way.
As long as the Priest isn't Hunter Race.
Oh yes, well, yeah, then you got no chance. You could have a billion armor and you'd still probably end up dying.
Yeah, I guess game number 4, is Toast going to pop into the final or is he going to get burned? Let's find out.
Very respectable.
You can probably use the bell for that one.
Yeah.
It's too late now. It's too late.
Yeah, the toast's ready. Give us a ding. But for Toast Monster, this is a very nice little hand to get things going. The Doomsayer is a pretty unfashionable pick in Kazakh's Priest at the moment. But when you're expecting a super aggressive meta, I think it's a fine inclusion to put in. There's no real reason why I think it was shut out of the deck, other than you'd rather be doing other stuff, I guess, in the early turns. But against aggro, there's not really much else you'd rather do.
He's staring down this Doomsayer that he didn't play against Ben on turn 1 in exactly the same situation, except that was with a coin play, wondering whether he should do this.
So if he goes for it, he can set up to a Tar Creeper to follow up on the following turn, which is just so strong. When you have a follow-up that capitalizes on a clear board, I think you have to go for it.
Oh,
wow.
He's going to do this to serve his board. Yeah, even a couple of minions.
Okay, so he got it, but whether or not this is actually correct,
I don't know.
It's actually another question entirely.
I think he's correct because he has a buff in hand, but I think he's going to end up not looking correct because of the follow-up that Toast has available to him.
He's used Savage Roar to keep basically a 1-mana minion alive.
To keep 2 minions that get buffed by Captain.
Well,
that's
yeah,
the big distinction.
That is the distinction, you're right. And then the Druid of the Swarm comes down as well, or the Daimyo. Druid of the Swarm makes more sense. Buff. Oh, by Captain, sorry. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was blind. I was just looking at Mark of the Lotus.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Captain's even better. Can you just use both next turn? Why use one when you can just wait until next turn and use both?
No, I was actually looking at Captain not attack into anything on this turn because it's weak to a silence effect or Shadow Word Pain, obviously, which is kind of scary. But it just leads to a much stronger follow-up on the following turn, and you develop a lot of stats on that play.
Now, Toast knows something is wrong here. You've just used a Savage Roar with a bunch of small stuff in your hand to preserve 2 1-drops. He knows that there are buffs or something. Yeah, exactly. He didn't do anything, and Toast will be deeply suspicious of this right now. I don't know if there's anything he can do about that fact, but...
Well, it's stuff like saving back Master Spell in order to hit a wide board of buffs, which, to be honest, maybe might actually work against him, because hitting the living mana on Master Spell is obviously one of the strongest interactions you have against that, to deny the refilling of mana crystals after it's been played.
So, I guess it has to pretty much just be Captain Mark of the Lotus here. It's just not pretty because the numbers don't quite do the right thing.
Well, I think
3 attack into the 4 health minion.
Well, I think he's probably just not attacking on this turn.
Yeah, you're just playing the buffs and then passing.
Yeah, it's always worth considering when you're up against the Tar Creeper, just not attacking.
In which case, is Cryptolord better and then play Mark of the Lotus on that?
Well,
This is what's taken Mysterious so long to work out. It's not an easy decision at all.
I mean, this is more attack onto the board, but Cryptolord into living mana is so strong.
Oh man, yeah.
And he's attacking in even. Wow. I think because of the buff that Captain affords you, this is a fine play.
As we can see, Master Spell, as long as it's not used this turn, is pretty much going to shut Mysterious down, silencing all of those mana crystals and essentially making Mysterious start the game again.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if he'll even get to it. I think Master Spell could just come down right here.
Well, yeah, that's the problem for Toast Monster. He definitely needs to
because it looks good. It looks good here.
It does.
You end up removing 3 attack from the board, and he doesn't go for it in the end.
Well, now next turn, Toast Monster. Well, he doesn't know there's living mana, but okay. Well, now Mysterious is forcing Master Spell out essentially.
So do you like this play, Falk, of holding back the living mana? It plays around a fair few things on this turn, but it's a lot less aggressive.
Most of what it's playing around, again, is still going to be in the hand, so Mysterious is going to need to play around it forever. I prefer using the living mana. I think Master Spell is the only real punish.
Really?
Well, because Dragonfire Potion, it's like, okay, yeah, the board's removed, but then it's gone, and you can continue actually putting stuff down.
Yeah, but then you only have 2 crit balls. You don't really have any amount of damage you can push forward.
You've got that living mana to worry about, right?
This has paid off. This has paid off for Mysterious.
Yeah, this has paid off very nicely for Mysterious. I mean, there is still the Dragonfire Potion, so no matter what he does, he's not in a particularly good spot, I would say.
No.
Yeah. And there's also the ability for Potion of Madness just to remove a mana crystal from your opponent and ramp up yourself as Toast Monster. It's a bit cute.
I was looking at that with the Master Spell. Like, you play the Potion of Madness, then Master Spell, you gain the mana crystal, your opponent doesn't. That's very cute.
So Mysterious clearly indicating that in his eyes, living mana is a backup option. It's the refill after a board clear comes down, because he's against a Kazakus Priest. There being a board clear is all but a given at this point in the game. It could be Dragonfire, Organized Circles, the Psychic Scream. There's so much stuff that can come down here to eviscerate what Mysterious is trying to do.
This is just a full board clear with the Potion of Madness and the Dragonfire Potion. It's pretty crazy.
He's going to try at all costs not to use that Dragonfire, though, because he knows there's 1 card left that's hanging about, and if it is living mana, that 12 or 14 a turn is going to kill you. And so he's going to try and do it the harder way here.
Look at that.
But at the same time, this could be living mana. It could be Savage Raw. There's... you don't really have much way of knowing, to be honest.
Well, it's less likely to... Wow, okay. It's less likely to do Savage Raw just because he's already seen 1.
That's
so statistically, it's slightly more likely to be living mana.
That's a good point.
And also, I guess maybe there would have been another opportunity to play the Savage Raw, but there definitely has not been another opportunity to play living mana. Now there's 2. Mysterious doesn't really have that much of a choice. At least it means after the first living mana comes down, the second one should be uncontested.
Well, he needs to think about how much mana will be eaten up, actually, because if he goes for it on this turn, 4 will be summoned, which means he will have 4 mana crystals less on the following turn, which means he will only be down to 4 if none of them are killed off. So he wouldn't be able to play the second one, which is a little awkward, but I suppose he wouldn't want to if they were all on the board.
Psychic Scream would be devastating.
That's the big thing, actually, yeah. He wants to make sure if he's screamed, he can play the following living mana, but it just hasn't worked out. Like, what is he meant to do? He can't really not play living mana on this turn.
Yeah, and he's entitled to expect to pick something up to do for 4 mana next turn anyway, to at least make the priest have to do something while you wait to play the next one. But you're expecting to get screamed here. This is why you don't like going with his line if you can help it.
Yeah, the worst case scenario for him is absolutely scream at this point. There is the exact card he did not want to see. Toast Monster knows he's got him. Mysterious cannot even play the second one. He loses all his mana crystals. What can he possibly do in this situation? He can
play
Firefly.
And a Flame Elemental, yep.
And the follow-up isn't even good. Living Mana doesn't come close to winning him the game because Toast Monster was so conservative with his Dragonfire potioning.
He's played this very well.
Yes. I like the way he's gone about this. It was... You know, his use of the Master Spell was such a key card in this match. Maybe he used it a little bit preemptively, but even then, he still saved it for a couple of turns.
And the non-use of the Dragonfire Potion that's still there, and we're going to see the fruits of that non-use now as this just
blows up his own
and utterly blows up his own villain.
Are we even going to see that this turn? Is it necessary? Yeah, probably.
The thing is now there's no more threats to worry about. Your opponent has one card as Druid who's played both his living manas. You think about it. I mean, you're always trying to be greedy as a priest, but most likely you just do.
I was just thinking, is there any way he can save the Velen? But there's just no need. There's just no need. Velen doesn't do anything anymore. I'm not even going to bother healing first to get that extra 4 health. Just plop down the Acolyte.
Yeah, this I think is definitely better.
He wants a million cards.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that if anything is played by his opponent, he can bump, heal, circle of healing, whatever, draw his enough cards to see him through to the rest of the game. Because unless I'm missing something, there's nothing in aggro Druid that can bring this back. Bittertide Hydras, I think, have been phased out of the list pretty much. Maybe a Cobalt Scalebane could do it. Whoa. But he needs an answer for that immediately, and there is no such thing at the moment available.
He's going to have a whole load of stuff going on here as well.
Oh, look, Radiant Elemental right on you. Lyra, did you call?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just looking more and more like a clear up for Toad.
I mean, he can afford to burn all his combo at this point and just beat everybody down with Talon Priests and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if he can kill off the Captain, that's a nice bonus, which he now can, because then Mark of Yasharaj can't even get rid of the Lyra. And at this point, do you think Mysterious was playing a bit too much around the removal by keeping back his living mana for so long?
I mean, if that Psychic Screen doesn't come off the top, he might well win that game.
He was in a respectable
So
position.
I think in that situation, it's difficult to know, but it feels like I think he actually... I personally think he played fine there.
I did prefer him playing the living mana the turn earlier, I have to admit. Yes, the punish was in Toast's hand. The Mass Dispel would have shut him down. That's sort of being results-oriented. I feel like he could have pushed a little bit harder earlier, and that would have been one of his few conditions to win the game.
But I feel like Mass Dispel isn't even the biggest punish. I think the other bigger punish of Dragonfire Potion was also available and would have just shut down any aggression.
The Penguin was the straw that broke the camel's back. Mysterious, well played, gives it up, gives the handshake. And we're going to get a rematch between Toast Monster and Big Ben in the final. Ben took down the first one, but not so sure what will happen in that final, Darrett.
Yeah, this could go very differently indeed, because Toast Monster got pretty unfortunate against Big Ben, losing the Rosakas Priest against the Control Warlock. And I know he's definitely going to be wanting it all that much more, because Toastmate knocked out his mate and his teammate.
Mysterious is third again.
Aww.
He's third again.
Yeah.
How does he do it?
Every single time it seems to happen.
It's a very good point. He has been doing really well in the Premiership over and over again. When he very first came to the Premiership, no one really knew who he was, and now he's a regular fixture here.
Still, nobody really knows who he is. He's very mysterious, he's very quiet, he doesn't say much. But he's obviously a great Hearthstone player and works when he has to work. He works when he wants to work, and he's done his team proud.
Yeah, they're going to be second and third or first and third. And that was a pretty happy result for the crowd there, I think. So we're going to throw it down to the floor, listen to what Frankie's got to say to Toast Monster.
Thanks, guys. I'm with our second grand finalist, Toast Monster. I wasn't sure if you had any first words before I start in with the hard-line questioning. So, how much do you love that card, Psychic Screen?
I think it's my favourite card now. I really like it. It's so overpowered and game-winning.
Don't say that. Blizzard might nerf it.
Then I don't have to play against it. That's the plan.
Is this the biggest tournament you've ever played in? It's the first time you played on stage, right?
Yeah, so I went to DreamHack Winter just to kind of get a bit of experience and have some fun, really. But this is my first time on stage, yeah.
I mean, you've done incredibly, because surely the pressure must be so different to playing on a webcam at home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did have the upside of there weren't really that many expectations of me coming into this, because I got a bit lucky in the Swiss with how it went. But obviously I've exceeded expectations here, and I'm really, really happy with it.
I mean, you really have. When I watch you, you're like a distinguished gentleman. You've got a proper poker face. Have you been practicing in the mirror?
That's exactly what I've been doing. And then I always just look at Mysterious, give him a little cheeky smile if he makes my eye, that kind of thing.
So do you think it's going to be a reset in the grand final? Are you going to give Big Ben a run for his money in the rematch?
I'm not just going to give him a run for his money, I'm going to take his money. That's what I'm going to do.
And you're going to take that trophy home. Well, fingers crossed for you, Toast Monster. This is it, guys. After the break, we're going to be back. It's Big Ben versus Toast Monster in the grand final here at the ESL Premiership Grand Final.
Try box. Stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness. With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loud mouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No.
Oh my god.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Là biết là chẳng có trước cái sau. Trước cái sau. Nhưng mà sau một cái review có bài học không?